So everything's recording.
Cool.
Audio and video. We're already technically podcasting.
Yeah, I mean that was our unofficial start. Welcome to the Damaged Goods podcast with your hosts Ill Vibe and Jess Robert. My hair is greasy as fuck because I forgot to buy shampoo for like the 7th day in a row, and you're looking fresh and dapper as usual. You just woke up from a nap.
I feel like Bobby Lee right now. I had a pre-podcast nap, like in the evening. I took a nap at a time. Some people go to bed, but it's okay.
You're fresh as a daisy.
I feel great. Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Do us a big favor and support us on whichever platform you're listening on. So follow us on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, and add us to your favorited podcasts, or however that works on whatever podcast.
And make us your favorite porn star on UJizz. You just can go there and you can click Damaged Goods Pod and make us your favorite porn star.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. I bet you it is.
Is UJizz a thing?
I'll tell you what. I don't know which one it is, but one of the porn websites, there's like this like built-in ability to like flag your favorite videos and your favorite porn stars and leave like bookmark them for later. And I always wonder who does that shit. So if you do, have fun.
Check us out on socials at Damaged Goods Pod, myself at Jess Robert, and Ill Vibe at Ill Vibe. Today I'm drinking Raven Conspiracy, our unofficial sponsor for the day. Even though I'm a super wine fanatic, I pretty much always choose wine by like the nicest label on the shelf. And every so often it works out, and I pick a nice label and the wine is also delicious.
Good marketing.
Raven Conspiracy. There's ravens, a crow. Those are the word for crows on the bottle.
I thought for a second there when you were like, there's I thought you were about to give us like a tagline you'd made up for them.
Raven Conspiracy.
I'm raving about it. This is like really bad tagline.
One cool thing they have on their Instagram that I noticed is they have like a link to a Spotify account where they just have different playlists of like different moods you might be in while you're drinking wine. And you're not.
I aggressively roll my eyes at the mooded playlist from the brand.
But I feel like if you were like hanging around with the girls,
listen, they're doing all they can. I get it.
Well, they're gonna stay an unofficial sponsor because you're insulting their marketing right now. Before we get too far into it, our guest today is another awesome comic that I met in the scene. We're Facebook friends. We barely talk in person. It's Clif Knight.
Hey, what's happening? What's happening? How you guys doing tonight?
Good.
I'm always a big fan of first real conversations being recorded.
Yeah.
That's important to me.
Yeah, we comment on each other's stuff and like back and forth on Facebook a bunch. I think we've spoken like maybe once or twice in real life.
Good, that's how I like it.
Yeah,
Dudes don't be talking to my wife.
Met you at a comedy show like 2 blocks away from here, and like I don't go to the show myself that much anymore, but it's just like, yeah, that's what the internet's for pretty much, you know. Thursday nights I'm out of town, you know how it is.
I think we met at Giggles at Groove Bar, which
that is not what the show's called, but
it is.
I mean, I don't know.
No, if you look it up on it's funny that you say that because that's what I was thinking. I'm like, what is that show called? So I looked it up and it's Giggles, and I'm like, that name needs to change.
Ain't nobody calling it that these days.
I feel like Giggles is kind of like my moist. Like the word giggles is so gross.
Yeah, it is a little bit. It does have some creep. It's like who chooses that
like
word
Giggles
over
the
other
clown.
Words? Who else thinks like laughs, chuckles, and they go no Giggles.
It does sound like it's hosted by Pennywise. Yeah, you know,
totally. Giggles. Do you have like a home base where you perform the most, or
used to like it used to just be like certain open, like Groove Bar definitely is one of my like home base open mics. There used to be a couple cool, there's one downtown at Rose's, and we used to call it the Pimp Room. That was not the name of the show, but almost every show there'd be like an entire booth of guys who are definitely pimps.
That's amazing.
And they would
or pimp adjacent.
Yeah, it had to be, because there's one guy that came in like an actual like entire Gucci outfit.
Those are my favorite.
Like straight up, and we're like, yo, you're just out here pimping, and they got so mad, and because they got mad, it just it became this kind of meme.
That's pretty wet snitch.
That's pretty moist snitching right there.
Yeah. And so the show kind of shut down because like the host like went out of town, all this kind of stuff.
He went out of town. The pimps made him go out of town. The show was done up.
Yeah, definitely got killed.
Who you talking to? You know, that sort of thing. But there's some shows that I'll do regularly. Like I always shout out Absolute. Absolute is one of my favorite chose to be on. Just like it's very receptive audience. Whenever you get a chance to do Yucks, it's always cool too, you know. But like comedy bar is real like Toronto comedy blood is what
I don't know. I've heard some shit about Yucks.
I mean, there's
Some of the comics talk some real for Americans who listen. Yuk Yuk's is like the biggest.
It's like the comedy store
franchise
kinda, yeah.
chain. I wouldn't even say like the Comedy Store. Not that I should be like fansplaining to actual comedians what fucking how the comedy scene works, but my perception is, anyways, like
Fansplaining. I love how it rhymes with mansplaining.
Is that it's kind of like the franchise.
Yeah.
It's like the one that's like in every city.
It's literally the one that like it's the Coca-Cola comedy.
Totally.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing in that it brings comedy clubs to places that otherwise maybe wouldn't have comedy
Wouldn't have
clubs.
anything, yeah.
So I'm sure that there's a whole bunch of positive you could give there, but you could do just a little bit of Googling of the word Yuk Yuks and start to hear some of the reports about.
Yes, that sort of thing. Like if you work anywhere long enough, you'll find.
No, I know, but to be fair, and I only because we're huge comedy like nerds over here. That what I've heard is that they like block comics from working for other people and on some pretty aggressive stuff. So, anyways, I just like you were like. Shout out to Absolute, shout out to Yucks, and
it's that sort of thing. I mean, it's just like comics. Like some comics will have, on principle, won't do this sort of thing, whatnot.
Sure, but you personally have no issue with
Personally,
Yucks.
I've not been slighted by them or anything like that. I've had a good time every time I've been there, but like I don't work for them, so it's
Al Dorr, he was here last week, is like, do you know who Alison Dorr is?
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah, she's just a big advocate against Yucks, and so
there's a lot of that. And for me, I'm not even at that level to be like I got beef with anybody or anything. You know,
makes sense.
It's cool.
I'm out here firing shots. I didn't mean to.
It'd be so funny. Breslin roll up on a block. Eeny, miny, mo.
Are you born and raised in Toronto?
No, I'm actually born in Guyana, back home. Yeah, so I've only been living here like almost 9 years now.
You have such a Toronto man's accent.
I know. I work very hard at it.
It's dope.
Yeah.
Or it's really that Toronto man's has his accent.
It's kind of what it is, because when I first came here and I heard the Scarborough accent, my mom and I were like, "What the ass is this?" You know, like because where we're from, we know the real patois. That's how people actually speak, and then this is this like filtered British grime version.
Yeah, I think it comes from a natural place in that Toronto has so much like.
It's true, but like when I heard it, I was like, "This is so hilarious."
But that's your job to do because you come from the place where it's sort of loosely based on, and you're supposed to come in and be like, "Easy, guys."
we kind of can't because it's got its own momentum of its own.
Sure.
You know? So
Exactly.
I think it's something like if you go to the UK has this. Have you spent any time there?
Only in Scotland.
It's got a weird thing where it's nowhere near the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Like literally nowhere near. It could not be further from the Caribbean, but tell that to them.
No, it's those guys. Those guys.
They fuck with island music.
Yeah.
They fuck with island slang and like.
Well, this is the thing, especially in Guyana, like for most of the British colonies all throughout the 60s and 70s, what are the big thing you could do? Like these days, the big thing is like, get your visa, go to the States. But back in the day, my grandfather's day, your big thing is like, the flex is like, yo, I'm in Birmingham, fam. You know, that's what it used to be.
I didn't even think of that. Makes a lot of sense.
My grandfather's time, he actually went to college in England. I don't know which part.
Sure.
And then he came back to Guyana. He started working there. But like that was the move, pretty much. And you'd have entire neighborhoods of just Caribbean people, right?
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Much like Toronto, London, England has the same like Caribbean, like you just feel it when you're talking to people and they just like white people are throwing it in their slang and it doesn't seem like they're being corny because it's more that they're just surrounded by it. Like if you live in like Brixton, it's like a Caribbean area. Meanwhile, it's nowhere near. So it makes a lot of sense actually.
Yeah, totally.
That the British Isles.
It's so funny because like I started imitating it in certain jokes to like make fun of it.
Sure.
And then certain people started talking to me that way. And then just before I knew it, like I was fluent in Toronto, man. You know, and you could say two twos, man. You know, that's me, top left. I'm Marv.
Wow, you just went so deep.
You know,
The thing with Toronto man slang is like. My friend Notion, who's been on this podcast before, he came by here one day. We were just drinking and smoking together, and he just kept being like, and it's just, I've heard a million people say it, but I was just around my boy, and he just kept being like, "Mans don't know." And then I was just out somewhere, and I was just like, I just basically used the word in that way, and I was like, "Oh no, it fucking like I just did it."
Yeah.
And then now I've just been walking around saying that.
It is a fun slang, I think.
Bro, it's super infectious. You say it one time and you're going to get caught doing it. So you can't come here again because I'm going to start talking like you and Drake.
It's literally what slang is. Like somebody was talking to me. You guys ever watch Firefly? You remember that series?
I remember, I didn't watch it too
And
much.
Part of the concept is like, it's way in the future. And the only two languages that survive are English and Mandarin, right? So everybody from Earth speaks those two languages.
Okay. Yeah.
And one of my friends was like, that's pretty sad. We're going to lose all these languages. I'm like, I do not believe that. will happen, because both of those languages have gigantic repositories of their own slang that fork off into different languages.
Yeah, language isn't cut and dried. There's like two, and then you just easily forget about all of the other
there's no
ones.
way that, even if let's say we do forget about all the other ones, there's no way that a hybrid language don't evolve or something like that.
Oh, you're saying, so you're saying the language that we use ultimately is a hybrid, even if it was predominantly
English. Is the biggest,
it already is.
Yeah, the biggest bastard language ever.
It already is a hybrid language.
That's
You're
the
right.
thing. So I don't
Like
think
all
that,
white people things, we were like, yeah, we made it. And you're like, look a little closer, fam.
Yeah.
Look a little closer where those words come from.
You brought it here. That's what you mean to say.
We're
That's
just
about
mostly into distribution, okay?
Yeah.
That's what white people are just really good at distribution.
it. 'Tis true.
Did you start comedy here or did you start comedy there?
That's a tough question. I mean,
How old were you when you came
technically,
here? Just a question, part two to that same question.
I was 20. Yeah, I was 20 when I got
Okay, cool.
here. And technically, as a class, I used to play for a punk band back home. And so we would do a lot of we do mostly fun stuff, because that's what punk was about. Like, you do some silly things. We would host.
Punk's so
some-
silly.
Yeah, I know,
You were
right?
a happy punk band. You weren't like we hate everybody punk.
No,
band?
yeah, we were a cool punk band. We were the punk band that was just like, oh, I wish girls would like you. You know, that's what we were doing. But the weird thing is, like, at our time in Guyana, a lot of the rock scene was like death metal. Like, it was heavy, something that you would not expect.
Sure.
So almost every rock party that we went to play at, like, the guys before us are like, we will eat your face. And we would come out with like a Kings of Leon song. Everybody be like, what? But then eventually we got some radio play, and that was pretty cool too. We would do some like pranks and certain comedy things like that. But I only started real stand up when I got here, and I actually went for a jog. I got lost. I found myself at the corner. And then I went back the very next day to do their open mic, and it was terrible. But I was
Wow.
hooked. That's literally what happened. Like,
Nice.
I didn't even know you could like go to school for comedy or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know?
So you saw it and you were like, oh snap, comedy club.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't. I got lost. I stopped to ask this guy for like directions. He was having a cigarette, and I turn and I look through the window. Like, the corner has like a little window you can see right onto the stage. And I was like, what is that? And he's like, stand-up comedy. You want to come back tomorrow? And I was like, what? And I was talking to the owner of the corner.
Bro,
And
this is a scene from a movie.
it really
You
was.
essentially have to be famous now because that's a great scene from a movie.
Yeah.
And and I just like started doing some comedy and started producing my own shows.
So was it kind of like a light bulb moment then? Because like, did you not think of it before then?
I kind of did, but like I didn't know it was something you could just like start doing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I knew you could go to school, but
It became
like,
a
not-
tangible step, essentially, right?
Yeah, it became a thing. It was just like, wow, I could go. I have these, you have these stories, these jokes that you tell your friends at
Sure.
parties all the time. I was like, well, I'm funny.
Yeah.
I got 20 minutes of material. Let's go, right?
Sure.
And then you go and you realize you have nothing.
Yeah.
And these guys are masters.
Yeah.
And it just, for me, the culture was like, this is cool. I feel like I could like some of these people, even if I'm not good. I can hang out here. And then, one or two jokes started working. People started booking me. So,
Yeah.
I like that, man.
When you really see like what the scene is, it's both like humbling because it's
yeah.
difficult, but then it's also like what's it called, like welcoming, because it's like, oh, anyone can get up and do it. There's if you come to an open mic, you know what I mean, like it's no one's gonna say like, oh no, what have you done before, what have you done? It's like no one's gonna say that.
one's
They're gonna
gonna
be
ask you
like,
for your credentials
go ahead, get
at
in
a mic,
line,
yeah.
go ahead, you know what I mean? Like,
It's that way for certain. Some open mics are like, whoa, yeah, I haven't seen you before, excited to see what you got. And some of them are like, oh wow, I haven't seen you before, I'm excited to see what you got.
yeah, totally. But yeah, it's both scary and not scary in that way.
I think the thing that I'm obsessed with about comedy, and it's connected to like my music career and so much of the things that like we love, is there's this ability to essentially move to a city and just kind of like rub your hands together and make a career happen.
Yeah.
It's magic. It's like, I'm going to say the right words in the right order, in the right rooms, with the right inflection to create a career
You're
and
entirely
make people
right.
want to pay me to do it again. And that's, I mean, essentially is like everything I'm proud of for my whole career. It connects to that principle of being able to just like, okay, well, fine, I'll make it happen for myself. I'll just do enough of the right work in the right order to put myself in the place I want to get. And it's like every time I hear a story about a comedian moving to LA and they tell about like, oh, my girl dumped me in the first week or whatever, everyone has a version of that. And then there's a little bit of like question marks. It's like, they never get a call back for an
What
audition
happens now?
for
Yeah.
10 years or something. And you're like, damn, how'd you do it? Or you move out to LA without a job. You hear about Canadian comedians doing it without a visa.
It's crazy.
And then the 6 months pass and then they just start staying anyways.
Yeah.
You're like, holy shit,
Start popping
it's
in.
all or nothing now.
Yeah.
You're illegally in the country. You have to, it's like fucking all or nothing now. And then occasionally you hear about them getting good enough that somebody sorts out the legal situation for them. And I'm like, that's magic, bro.
Yeah, there's one or two people
created
who,
it out of their
who
hands,
get it taken care of before they leave, but it's very, very rare.
hard. And it's expensive.
It's so weird because, like, yeah, you're right, it's super expensive because, like, to do it from here, you need basically 20 grand. You need to have, like, letters of recommendation, all this shit. Americans can just kind of, like, walk over and be like, all right, cool, I'm doing comedy here.
If you have a couple of shows booked, you can get a visa to go over, but you still can't stay more than 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
So you can
one of the
you can
things-
go over
yeah.
legally for 6 months and go play some shows or whatever with like an artist work visa. I got
And then
one.
when that
It was
6
so
months
expensive.
is done, or can you not go back for
You have
another
to
6
come
months?
home.
You have to come home and
reapply, and I think the other thing is you still have to be very careful about how many months you spend in the USA in total in a year and in a row. There's all these different
reporting
things.
your income, all that
It's a bunch.
stuff. Yeah.
You immediately put yourself in like hot water and stressful water in the fact that you're like, whew, so now I'm making money illegally in this country. I've overstayed my welcome. You have to be careful, but if you stay out of Canada for too long, you fuck up your health coverage. And it's like, these people are chasing the fucking dream. And so whenever you hear one of the stories of like, and then they make it, it's just like, holy shit, man.
I was at one of the JFL panel shows last summer, and they had this huge talk about like LA or New York. That's usually the thing. And one of the comics came out. He's like, "You guys aren't talking about Chicago. You guys aren't talking about Denver. You're not talking about Miami. Like obviously LA, New York. Like LA is if you're gonna hit some movies. New York is if you're gonna become a stage beast and stand up or something like that. But like if you really want to like say you're working and whatnot, you could. Yeah, you're right. You put yourself in some serious hot water in New York, or you could swing through Denver, smoke a lot of weed, tell a lot of jokes.
The other thing is, where are you, right? Because if you're early in your career, let's say there's somebody like where you are, Jess, where it's essentially like admittedly super early, just really like getting into the craft.
Toronto's the best place for you.
For sure. You want maybe you want to be in a secondary market where there are opportunities, but you essentially aren't on the main stage yet.
Yeah,
So
fighting
in that
big
case,
dogs,
it's like you go to Chicago. You go and try to like cut it out with these. It's a big league. Chicago's not small leagues, I imagine.
No.
I've never been, but I imagine the comedians there are fucking
Chicago launched some power
hard AF, right?
Yeah.
And so, but it's not packed full of agents and agents' best friends from LA. So you kind of work your way up to getting down to being in a room full of casting
I
people.
feel
That's my
like
thoughts on it.
you would shine in LA because that's kind of LA's fun like that. You can have a couple of contacts, throw a couple of things. Like LA is all about your look, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's what I've heard. I have not yet been down there. I have a cousin that lives there, so I'm gonna try to go down there and ride her
You got this,
Kawasaki.
man.
Adele, I'm looking at you. Come on.
I think for us, we will spend time in LA just because we've got friends there already in the music business and the comedy industry, and it'd be a dope place to bring our podcast because we could like take this energy to like
yeah.
a place that has
I'm in a really
cool
unique
people.
position as a comic is that you travel already for music
Yeah.
and I go with you all the time anyway. So it's like literally while he's booking a tour across the US, I could easily book a
just throw
comedy
one, two
tour.
things in there,
Or even just a couple.
and it's all. I mean, our listeners know every time we go to LA, we spend half of our time doing nothing productive. Although now it's productive because suddenly you're a comedian. But we just hang out at the store. We've been spending like 40% of our California trips at the store for years.
Yeah.
So we made a hell of friends down there, and just even in terms of getting a sense of like where do those guys play on off nights and learning about like the off night shows and the shows at Airbnbs and the show. It's like we just know that from being legit fans. That's what we've been doing for 3 years is going down there and hanging out in the comedy scene.
So you're
suddenly you're into comedy. I mean, you always were, but suddenly you took that step. And we've been saying for a minute now that you're in a unique place where you're starting comedy, but you actually have some of the knowledge of what would be necessary a few steps down the line.
Yeah.
now I just got to get
you just got to do the work.
material.
No, just got to do the work. But doing the work is easy because you just get up every day and do the fucking work.
I keep saying, especially when new comics come in, like, material's important, but like when you start to say you're gonna like book stuff out of town, you're gonna go international, being funny ends up being like 20% of your job. what really is important is how you promo, how you set things up, how you position yourself for success.
Yeah.
Because being on stage is literally, you're on stage, what, 5, 10, maybe 20 minutes?
Yeah.
What is all the work that takes to get to that point? You know,
Speak on it. I love it.
That's exactly what, because like I did a one-man show in Edinburgh last year, and it was probably one of the worst ideas I've ever had. Because I had friends that were going, and they're like, yeah, you should come with us. We're going to stay at this place. All right, cool, I'm coming. And then somebody asked me, are you going to have a show? And I was like, maybe I should have a show. And I put together and wrote the whole show, which is really just me slapping all my material
good practice
together.
Though, but sure.
And so I go and
How long was it?
The show was an hour 15 when I started.
Terrifying.
Wow.
And then by the time I had like cut it all down to like real tense bits and whatnot, I had about 45, 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
On you watch Crashing?
Yeah.
On Crashing, on the last episode that we watched, he's like, the one guy comes up from the bar and he's like, we're going to switch you to the headliner or whatever. You have 45 minutes? He's like, yeah, I can do 45. And I remember I had this moment where I was just like on the spot, like I'm sure if I had time to like put it together, I'm like, but on the spot being told to do 45 minutes is like the most terrifying thing I've ever heard.
So
like,
this is really how it became that I knew I could do that show, is because I got booked for this like corporate event up in Markham somewhere. And the lady, the booker, she's so sweet. She's like, hey, I only have $100 in the budget, but could you please do 35? And I you know, at the time I had like a good 15 maybe. Yeah. And I was like, of course, I'll give you a discount. You know? And then I get there and she's just like, oh, I'm so sorry. Actually, we only have time for you to do 25. Is that still okay? And I'm like, oh, this is not helping, but still okay. And I get on stage, I do the 25, nobody stops me. I do the 35, nobody stops me. I do an hour and 5 minutes because she's outside doing mushrooms apparently. And it got so lucky because there's not usually a large Caribbean audience. It happened to be like a kind of a Caribbean event. So I got to pull out a lot of material that I never get to use that just wouldn't fly here most Toronto shows. And they loved it. So I was like, all right, cool. I got an hour, which is just wrong. But then we went to Edinburgh and like feel the festival because that's the largest art festival in the, like, it was so overwhelming. Like I got sick 9 days in, like for real. I definitely try to go back next year, but it's one of those things where that gives you a real scope of, you know, you're doing a show, a groove bar here where nobody's listening versus like, you could be one of the 50,000 shows happening in a certain period.
So it's like an arts festival. So it's like all different mix.
So really the fringe is the fringes of a festival that already happens there. So they have their own like art festival, and then there's the fringe on top of that.
Yeah.
And then there's the free fringe, which is I was a part of, which is you get to do your show and you don't charge anything.
Sure.
But you ask people to throw into the bucket or whatever. So that's it's gigantic and it's only getting bigger.
So it's I think it's very similar to like South by Southwest where there's all these official events and then there's hella unofficial events.
Yeah.
Just because the city's lit and people are looking for places to be and you might just catch a spillover crowd full of important people. So it's like for MeDem was the world's biggest music conference. Yeah. It's 50 years in and it's not as big as it once was, as all the 75-year-old men always
it's not cool anymore.
It's not as cool as it once was. Diana Ross was discovered there. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like it's in its kind of like it's in its old age. You know what I mean?
Like Betty White will show up.
This festival's in its Betty White years. Is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? But so
that'd be pretty sweet. But.
So the hip hop and urban element of it is really weak. It's
not what they're trying to book there.
Well, it's not their focus. Yeah. So what we started doing was throwing essentially a fringe event, like an event that starts at midnight on the edge of town, but 2 years in, it's now sold out, and they promote it on their thing because it's like makes the festival seem cool that there's
got to keep going.
Cool fringe events happening on the edge of town, and I think it's that same idea of being like hustlers looking, going, who's going to be in this town?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll throw events in any room available to us.
It's literally like that because especially we have North by Northeast here, which is a lot smaller, of course.
But it's similar energy in terms of
the
just
same
like
sort of thing. And so it was exactly like that. Like there was just like, oh, this person's going to be here doing a show. Can I just contact them and see if I can grab them to come do my little shitty show? And, you know, 1 out of 10 times it might work and you might pop some hype, you know?
I love it.
Yeah, totally. So Valentine's Day just passed. You said you have a girlfriend, or?
Yeah.
Do you celebrate?
We don't really celebrate like that. Like we don't do gifts and all that kind of stuff. We do events. We will go somewhere and spend some money on each other. We won't buy gifts and clutter up our apartment. No, fuck that.
We're the exact same way, and that's exactly what we did.
Yeah, we had fun.
What did we do?
We just went and saw some live jazz.
Yeah, it was super.
cool.
We had a double live jazz night because he had something planned at the Reservoir Lounge. Have you ever been there?
No.
Cool
Yeah,
underground spot.
super sweet. Like, would you call that like Motown night or whatever?
It was it was like 60s soul, basically, that kind of vibe. Like,
Ooh.
yeah, it was really, really good. And the band was incredible. Like the dude's voice, he sounded just like Al Green. I could not believe it. I was like fangirling out and like videotaping every song.
And it was
so
like a
good.
real like mixed bag of people there too, like
Yeah,
old,
people.
young.
We danced with a lot of old people that night. It was
Yeah,
fun.
a lot of old people, and everyone's like eating food and like dancing around the tables
the
of people
Valentine's
eating
flow.
food.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
great
it was
on
super
Valentine's.
sweet.
On Valentine's Day itself, I was doing one of the shows from, I don't know if you know Tinder Tales, which is
Yeah, I've
it's a
heard of
show.
it. I
It's
haven't been
produced
to
by
it.
one of my friends. She's in Montreal, and she took a pretty big risk this year. She organized 5 simultaneous shows to happen on the same night.
Oh, wow.
So she had a show in Montreal, I think 2 shows here in Toronto, one in Kingston, and then we were at the one in McMaster.
And all the Tinder Tail, like they're all Tinder Tails.
They're all
Yeah.
similarly branded shows. So
Yeah.
yeah, we drove out there. We did the McMaster show, but it was 3 shows in a row. The first show got snowed out at Sheridan.
Oh, wow.
And then we went to Laurier in Waterloo and did that. That was nice. And then the next night we went to McMaster and Hamilton, did that. It was nice. So
Cool.
in general, like all of the big important days, I get booked for something anyway.
Yeah.
So we just don't think of it like that. We're like, yeah.
Yeah, we mostly did it the next night as well.
Yeah.
We went out on the 15th.
Yeah.
But whatever, we just celebrated our love.
Because
whatever
really, who
day.
cares? You know?
That's it.
Totally. Jumping right into the depressing stuff, I feel like we
Cool.
have to talk about the Amber Alert.
Oh, you said depressing stuff. I thought you were
man.
going to talk about the Netflix special.
Oh yeah, no, we'll get into that too.
Oh yeah,
That's
there's
more.
so
That's
much
almost
of it.
more depressing.
Yeah.
You need to put an Amber Alert for that.
No, too soon. So for anybody who doesn't live in Toronto, for any listeners who are from elsewhere, you
Most
might
of
not
them
know about
probably.
this. But if you're from Toronto, you definitely know about this. But I'll tell you the story anyway. So a few nights ago, Anthony and I were watching a movie, probably around midnight, and both of our phones like Warner.
We weren't
like,
watching a movie.
No, the second time. No, okay, the first time we were watching a movie.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah. No, the first time we were wrapping up a movie, probably
No, both alerts came in the bedroom.
during coitus.
Yeah. Yeah. The first, no, I know this for sure because
Okay.
I was like, oh, that's a problem. Like I was like, right. It was like right in the mode. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were making love during
so
both.
so the first alert came at the beginning.
Yes, exactly.
And then
hours later during the end of our lovemaking,
basically
the second one.
the first alert says that a little girl's gone missing. The guy's whatever postal code or
It's
not
her
postal
father
code.
has or it said that.
Yes,
Yeah,
license
yeah,
plate
yeah.
number or whatever. And then the second one, I didn't want to talk about ours having sex that much because it makes light of it. And
Specifically, I
but
was
we
going
were.
down on you when the first one
Yeah.
happened.
You thought that was the alert?
No, because it was a real distraction.
You're
Like,
doing
that's
it
like
wrong.
a-
You're doing it.
Yeah, she was already giving me all kind of alerts. Like,
And so the second one just said Amber Alert canceled. So thank goodness it did too, because I was just like,
no,
oh,
girl
okay.
located. It said,
Yeah, it said that she's been
Yeah,
found.
she's been found. So I was just like, woo. And so
Me too. I went to because like
Yeah.
I was up late writing and I saw it and then it was like, oh, this is Brampton area. She's with her father, but like, my girlfriend's been watching SVU for the last couple of weeks, so like my head went in exactly where it would. It was just like,
Yeah.
he's like unhinged or
And
something.
I've been watching
Yeah.
Abducted in Plain Sight, so I'm
Yeah.
ready for this.
And so when I just like she's been found, I thought it was just like
yeah, the way it was
Good news.
worded,
That's good news.
I thought it was like false alarm, as
Yeah.
in like, oh, like the parents are
Yeah,
fighting
exactly.
or
That's
whatever,
exactly what
but
I
like
thought.
false
It
alarm.
was just like, oh, this the mother was just like spiteful and
Yeah.
because they're like she went missing like 6 hours ago, and usually the thing is like you can't file a missing
Sure.
persons.
But she had good instincts, right?
Yeah,
She got
so
up every day at
yeah,
6 p.m.
everyone goes back to after the second alert. Everyone goes back to sleep thinking that everything's all good,
Everything's peachy.
and then we all wake up in the morning and Twitter is ablaze
Oh man,
with basically people.
Complainers.
There's complainers saying that they were annoyed that they got messages. People yelling at those complainers saying, "How
Yeah.
dare you? That's so like,
like, fuck you.
selfish
Such a
of you
waste
that
of
you would
time,
even
yeah.
blah blah." And then the police also sending out reports saying why they had to, and then they actually did end up finding information
Yes.
that
Yeah.
located him. Unfortunately, it was too late once they located him. But yeah, it was a whole whirlwind of.
there's been a couple of threads where I see someone who is just like he's trying to justify it. He's like, oh no, the Amber Alert should just be for people in the area, so they can just do a geographical thing. And I was just like, why would you?
how long does it take to drive to Toronto?
Not
Like-
only that, but just like what were you doing? Were you doing brain surgery at the time?
Yeah.
And even then, if it was not brain surgery, surgery on that same girl, look, you go fuck yourself.
Yeah, totally.
It's really a stupid conversation because it's just a sound. It's just a lot. It's like I jokingly said to somebody on the internet, like, do you also consider the fire alarm an intrusion of your privacy? It's like, no, it goes off once in a while for the benefit of the
Or like a siren passing your house.
Yeah, it's like no,
deal with it.
And to be honest, in this case, I would think for the size of the city Toronto this is one of those like cities that like when they put up 7 clocks at a train station, we're one of the clocks.
Yeah.
So it's a big fucking city. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how often does this happen? This is the first time. But
This is the first time it's ever happened to me.
But I just mean how often does a case this size?
But hang on, the thing
a case
that
this big this even would happen.
the thing that hits
6
me
times
is
a year, I
like
can handle it.
people are mad, but I'm like, if this was going out every time a person, like just somebody who spent too much time on Sherburne Street goes missing, right? That might get a little bit annoying.
it's
But
not
the
going
point
to.
is just like it's not that. This is like the police
for children.
Yeah, the police have vetted this case. They've done all the investigating they can, and like the Amber
and
Alert's
then
not
it
something.
qualifies for an Amber Alert.
Yeah, the Amber Alert's not something that they just sent out because
This isn't new, right?
Yeah.
Remember when we were young on the TV, they would come up on the bottom.
Yeah.
Amber Alert. There's a missing.
The only difference is now
teenager or
that
whatever.
it comes directly to you
Totally,
in
but,
your pocket.
but how often
yeah.
did that happen when you were a kid? You'd see it a couple of times a year. So
Yeah.
we can all handle a couple of times a year. Just hey, heads up, some cute little innocent kid who's done nothing wrong could use our help for 5 seconds.
It's either this or milk cartons. So you could, I don't.
We don't have cartons here, though.
Yeah,
We just have bags.
we just got bags. You gonna start printing
By the
shit
time
on
you
the
get
back?
on the milk
No.
Yes, sure. Milk cartons are going to interrupt our foreplay a little bit less.
Yeah.
They're less effective in finding the kid.
Unless the milkman's in on the threesome. That's all I think. He comes in and he's like, I brought some milk for you.
A milkman does look like a Hemsworth.
Are you guys sound sleepers? Like, do you find that? So if something wakes you up, whether it's an Amber Alert or
Shit
another
wakes
sound,
me up. Like, I don't let it bother me,
yeah,
'cause,
I
like,
might even forget it by the morning.
Yeah. There was a point in time, like during school or whatnot, it was like, I'm up now, But that's only if you work some job that you hate anyway, and you should probably be one of the, you know what? No, I'm gonna stop it because these people, these people sometimes they make me want to say shit I shouldn't be saying, so I don't need that in my life,
Toronto man. Bro, Drake would be proud of you. I
got into a couple like heated debates on Facebook.
That was a perfect Drake combination because it was I'm tough enough, it could be a problem, but I'm classy enough, I won't let it. That's very Drake.
Yeah, man. No, I got better things to do.
I don't want it to fuck up my money.
If you out here complaining on Twitter because you lost a little bit of sleep, that means you probably not doing the work to achieve the shit that you're trying to do. So that's on you.
True.
I'm not gonna. I had something to say, but I really can't follow it.
That's so true.
It's true. I mean, you look at every friend that you know that's always posting motivational shit. Are they really doing anything? Or do they just buy a new suit every couple of weeks?
That.
They just buy a new suit every couple of weeks. Trust me. We make videos, and the funniest people we make videos for are motivational speakers. Right now, we only have 2 clients in the history of my company that won't pay their bill.
Yeah.
Only 2 out of hundreds.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
We have a very good percentage here closing fucking invoices. Only 2 people. One of them is a hip hop related person who considers themselves motivational in a way that's sort of hard to explain without throwing him under the bus, but I won't get into him. But the second, more recent case is a straight up motivational speaker who will not pay her motherfucking bill. And her whole thing is like motivation in like business. And she literally has like a thread on the internet where she was like inspiring her followers. And she was like, 2 things that all good business people should have: a lawyer and an accountant. This bitch owes me money. I have a lawyer and an accountant, and we all would like to be paid.
Listen, she's
flexing in my face, bro. That's what it is.
She's narking herself up because she's just proving that she don't have an accountant. Therefore, she's not a good business person.
It's all smoke and mirrors, the whole thing. And this, when I'm talking, like she runs like a conference where like young people come and like take pictures with her, and it is all a motherfucking lie.
You know what? I respect the con. I respect the con. I respect the con. You know, because
I like that angle. I like the angle.
Because listen, they got some people like they gonna bring their own fall. You know what I mean? But if you managing to get shit done whilst like admittedly, because this happened to me too. I've got so many clients that like take 6 months to pay me, and then I notice, you just got this big contract. So where's my? Sometimes it's as small as like $500, $1,000.
It's still $700-800.
Yeah,
but
people
it's still annoying.
I don't respect the con.
You know what it is because sometimes like I don't want to throw Guyana on the bus, but Guyanese is some of the best scout men, yo. I'm telling you, some of the best cons have been run up and down Regent Street. Is people who get clever. You know what I mean? There was one time I was trying to buy some guitars.
Multiple guitars?
2 guitars.
I don't know why
for the punk band. For the punk band, right?
Why that sounds so shady.
Yo.
There's this one time I was trying to buy some guitars.
I was trying to buy some guitars, and the dude's like, "Yo, how many you need?" And I'm like, "I need a bass.
12. I need 12 guitars.
I need a bass and two guitars." And he's like, "All right, cool, I got you." Right? He shows up in the middle of the day. We decide it's gonna be $200 for all 3 guitars. He shows up with all 3, right, and gives them to me, and then he leaves, right? And then an hour later, he calls me back, and he's like, "Listen, I gotta come back and pick up 2 of those, but I will come back an hour later."
Is this a math riddle?
Listen, yo, I will come back an hour later and I'm gonna give you an extra 1. So now I'm gonna have 4 guitars for the price of 2, right?
So he had to pick up ones that he
had to
gave?
pick up ones that he already gave me because he's like, "I'm gonna swap them out for you," right?
But why?
I don't know.
I just want to be clear. This is definitely a YouTube clip,
Right? It definitely is.
Or like an Instagram clip.
And so then after he picks up the 2, and I'm like, the time for us to meet up again passes. I keep calling. Nothing happens. He doesn't get back to me for like 3 days. And then when he gets back to me, he's like, "Yo, what's up?" No explanation. He's just asking me what's up. I'm like, "Yo,
Can I help you with something right now?
He's like, "Yo,
You're disturbing my sleep like an Amber Alert."
He was just like, "Yo, I got hit by a car. I got
Of
robbed.
course.
Bro,
This
these
is a
people
new
are always
phone."
hit by cars.
Yo,
Yeah, always cars.
And so-
That's the thing on catfish. It's either like cars, cancer, like it's like
Jeez.
yeah.
right? My kid,
My cat
you
died.
know, something like that. So eventually I go and I find his place and he gives me another guitar, which is still not one of the previous ones. So now I
Wait.
still end up with 2.
It's a 4th guitar, but you only have 2 of 3.
Right.
Okay,
2
sure.
of 4 that I was promised.
Yes. Oh, 2 of 4.
Right?
I like
And he's-
that's aggressive, but I like.
Dude, and he was just like, "Nah, I got them from this place on a low, that sort
Yeah.
of thing." And I was like, "All right, cool, fair enough. I got these 2." And they were actually pretty great. That's the end of the story.
Wow.
But it was definitely like such a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Jess, when we
I
do-
wonder, like, I'd like to like dissect what actually happened there, because I think that it might be that maybe he took them from somewhere and then that person caught him maybe and said, "Look, I know you took those guitars. I need those back." So then he brought them back and then took guitars from somewhere else to give to, because why would he need them back?
Maybe,
But that
maybe.
suggests he's got a network of places he can steal guitars.
Yeah,
I think he
And
probably
maybe
does.
in his mind he has them listed and how easily he can steal them.
Yeah,
like,
he's
"Shit, I'm gonna
rolling
have to
it-
go over to the Johnson's house.
He's rolling into every Long and McQuaid in the city, right? That's
I like
what it
it.
is. But like, yeah, those guitars are great. I don't know if we bought stolen goods or anything like that. The statute of limitations
Allegedly,
is up. So, I'm
Did you do
outside
the
y'all
Instagram video?
jurisdiction.
You put up like one guitar.
That's why I
2
very
guitars.
Yeah, we'll
specifically
do
said
all
took. I meant took as in
guitars.
perhaps borrowed,
Yeah.
Back to 2 guitars.
perhaps rented.
Man, look, that's what I'm saying. So I'm always on the lookout for certain
For
things.
guitars.
Yeah, the guitar specifically, even though I don't play anymore. But yeah, just
to buy shit from-
my general advice to people
people?
is just keep your eyes open and be
Just for buying
inquisitive.
shit.
Just not no, in general, just like every day. Like sometimes people go and they get jobs that like treat them like shit and take advantage of their rights and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So that same scenario happens every day in different ways.
That's like a
right?
woke twist I didn't anticipate.
Yeah.
You connected buying guitars somehow with watching out for your boss taking advantage of you. And I
It's-
tell you what,
yeah.
I respect that.
It's the
No.
same
that's
thing.
the kind of
Same.
that's like a Clyde Drexler level pivot, and I respect it.
Watch out for yours.
It's the concept that every trick in the book is the oldest trick in the book because there's really only one trick.
Can I pull up? I'll pull a similar level pivot.
Yeah.
And the con that I respect is the con of. Okay, listen. I'm gonna say this motherfucker's name wrong. What's this dude's name who made the Netflix special that we're not a fan of?
Ken Jeong.
Yo, Dr. Ken.
Yeah.
Dr. Ken.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we don't even have to spend long on it, but it's gonna take me to a secondary subject.
Did you finish it? Did you finish
No,
it?
no.
I couldn't even finish it, man.
No.
Oh no, we did not finish it. We did
So this
not
is-
get very far.
I think we have an interesting take on it.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at Netflix giving money to beloved people who are attempting stand-up comedy, because there's a lot of beloved people, and I use that term specifically because they sense that they're beloved.
When you have
Yeah, they sense that they're beloved.
the new people will watch
They
it.
think
That's
that they
the
can
thing,
convert
yeah.
that into this stand-up comedy career, and no, like I'm not even mad at that. But the problem is when it's about how you carry yourself, and it's about how you describe what you're doing, and how you talk about other comedy from the place that you're sitting in, because I have so much respect for any art form. This honestly would carry over if it was dancing or painting or singing. In that,
true, yeah.
if you are just trying it, then it should have the air of somebody who's trying it. Or, and by the way, for example, we have an idea that it should have been called An Evening With, in which case there is zero expectation of you being a great stand-up comedian.
Yeah, it's just an evening with
It's an
him,
evening
and
with
then if
this
he
really
happens
nice
to be
guy.
funny, what a bonus. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But he promoted it as my stand-up special.
He was on Hot Ones and he literally said, it's my first stand-up special.
Yeah.
He's talked about, if you like these kinds of jokes, you'll really like it. And
So
there's literally
he
not,
prepped, he
I
prepped
heard no
everybody.
jokes.
There was no jokes. So it's no. That's not what that.
There was zero jokes.
But you know what? I have to make the distinction of there were zero jokes, but there were funny parts.
Yeah, I laughed.
Yeah.
I laughed at like,
I laughed at certain things, but it was just like
I sort of laughed.
No, yeah, I didn't laugh.
I didn't laugh hard,
but I get what you're saying. I get
Yeah.
what you're saying, and that's what I mean. Like if he presented it as an evening with Ken Jeong, I would have watched it and been like, "Oh, he's kind of funny. That's cute." You know
like
what I
he
mean?
should have a talk show. Probably
Yeah,
he should have. Yeah, he should definitely
Or
have a
podcast.
kind of
or
like
or keep working at comedy, but you need to work on it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Yes, totally. And so I immediately connect that to, and this is why I brought it up, because to me that's like 10 seconds of material right there. But to me, the other 20 seconds of material is about. Listen, I'm really bad with fucking names. What's the director who I'm mad at right now?
Apatow.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
I would like to say
That's
I would like
fair.
to say a couple of things in a row. The Judd Apatow stand-up special was atrocious.
Yeah.
It was a car wreck.
It was kind of the same thing of
yes.
what. Yeah, it was kind of the
it
same
was,
thing. Yeah.
yeah.
But I don't think he's
I would
likable.
say it was a step above, but kind of.
And
It was a
think
step
he's-
up because Apatow actually writes jokes.
Yeah.
He actually came with
Yes,
some
but
jokes.
but
it was just
some
like
of them felt like street jokes. It felt hacky. It felt like a guy who's trying. And listen, when he did it, I wasn't mad. I said that wasn't good, and I moved on.
Yeah. No, I to be honest, like I enjoyed it more than I didn't like it. I was
Okay.
like, this is cool.
I thought it was bad,
It was not good. I will say that.
but I wasn't mad. I did say it was
shit.
bad. When I got mad,
You were mad. Yeah, that's the thing.
when I got mad was when he called Louis C.K. a lazy hack comedian.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, bro, you put out the worst special last year.
Yeah.
You are so lazy. It was the laziest writing in stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And I didn't tweet about it. I didn't say shit about it. But when he just, because we're also, man, over here, we're feminists. I don't fuck with what Louis C.K. did, but I'm smart enough to separate, is he a hack comedian? And
Is he a
what he
terrible
did
person?
really
Yeah.
fucked up.
Yeah.
Because what he did is fucked up, but he is absolutely not a lazy hack comedian.
No.
And not
He
only
was
did Judd
doing-
Apatow say that, when
Yeah.
he questioned about it in interviews, he doubled down on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
so
just like,
crazy.
to give a
'Cause,
chance
like,
to clarify,
Louis
he's
was-
lazy and hacky. Yeah, he's lazy, he's hacky. He just like, those are lazy jokes. Those are not lazy jokes. They were great jokes.
I would say
they were cold jokes.
the new Louis leaked shit that was hacky, some hacky like grandpa jokes, but like
the shit that he got in trouble for, I don't think was hacky.
no, the leak.
yeah, it's the one. It is what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I don't think that was hacky. I think the saying like
I would.
when
You know
he
what?
said,
Let me rephrase.
I'm like royalty. This is how you should address me.
Yeah.
That's a funny joke. It's cold.
Yeah.
Saying
No,
like,
but that I see. Maybe you're not watching enough comedy though,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that
yeah.
is a hacky
That-
joke
that
in
is-
the
that's
open
the-
mic circle.
that's what I mean, yeah.
Everyone makes
no.
the joke.
Everybody talks about that thing, but I don't believe that. At least, and you and I had this argument when it happened. I listened to a lot of hours of
specifically the
comedy.
royalty thing,
Yeah,
is what
the
you're saying?
royalty, his royalty angle. And keep in mind, he was just working it out. So he was working
That's
out a
the one
premise
thing,
about
yeah.
And that's the thing.
that there's this royal highness
It
aspect.
shouldn't have been leaked,
Of
to
course.
be honest, because it does feel like he's just working that shit out.
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I mean to say is that it wasn't not that it was good, it was hacky. It was just like a comic at his level should have come with something better. But when you factor
By
in
his
the fact,
special, for sure.
Yeah, when you factor in, that he's just trying, like this was somebody recorded that wasn't meant to be
Because I think
recorded.
that
Yeah,
premise is kind of
exactly.
funny, and
You know?
it doesn't even feel like punching down to me. I think it's for Louis, who is very willing to punch down. The idea of like it's like their royalty isn't that punching down really. It's more about like the language.
Yeah,
You
I know what
mean?
you're saying. I think people are on like hypersensitivity because of all the stuff that he's
Hey
done.
man, and I'm not on heavy defense of
yeah.
Louis. I more meant that like I could see if you gave that joke 3 or 6 months, then it could get somewhere really good.
Yeah.
That's more what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that,
because
that joke, by
Louis-
the time it got to the special, would actually be quite funny.
Because your
That's
greater point is that because Louis is not a hack lazy comedian.
he would never have let a hack joke into a special.
No, he would never do that in a special.
Yeah.
If he ever has another special.
in that form. At any
At any
I
rate-
suppose that premise might make it, but his
At any rate, forget about old white men, bro. Like, you guys watch that Comedians of the World, if you've seen that.
Yeah.
Where, like, there's 2 Toronto comics.
Yeah,
like,
Dave
basically 3. Do we have Mirage? You have,
Mirage. I was going to say, we always
Dave
pronounce his last
Mirage,
name
yeah.
wrong. Dave
Deanne
Mirage.
Smith is kicking that off, and
Cool.
I saw her live 2 days after that special came out. Right,
dope.
we were doing this tiny, literally a room like this in Kensington to 4 people in the middle of a snowstorm, and she came in and she still brought that same
love that.
energy.
That's awesome.
And that's like,
yeah, we enjoyed all. I
beautiful.
watched all the Canadian and American ones. You kept going with some of the international ones.
Yo,
I struggle.
the South
Australian
African
ones are
ones
great.
and the Australian ones are cool.
We watched
yeah.
a couple of, but I struggle with some of the international stuff. The humor just shifts enough that like it's cool. I'm watching, but I don't laugh. It's just more like, oh, that
that's
was cool.
you know what, I've come to grips with some stuff like that because
Yeah.
I love watching the international ones, even if it's not something I enjoy at the end. I like seeing
like
where,
studying.
I like seeing where comedy is in this part of the world,
Totally.
or not necessarily that person is the apex of what's happening, but like what Netflix chose to represent. Right,
Yeah.
I can't live over there. I am planning some trips to like India, Portugal, that kind of stuff, but like. Especially when I just move around a little bit and you see vast differences. Imagine what's gonna happen the other side of the world, shit
Yeah.
like that. You know,
If you move from the east end of Toronto to the
Yeah,
west end
yeah.
of Toronto, comedy's so different. So
Sometimes-
imagine when
almost
you
everybody-
go across the
to the west
world.
side.
almost everybody I see in Waterloo, I end up telling them, "Yo, but when you hit up Ottawa, though, like that's not even far."
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I don't know what you're talking about. Ottawa and Waterloo are basically the same place.
Not in comedy.
Oh, okay, comedy. I don't know.
In
what the
comedy, Ottawa is actually like kind of a big boss because they have like Absolute's headquarters and stuff like that, right? And it's so close to Montreal, you can hit up the Nest. There's some cool shows there.
So there's like dual city vibe up there for
The thing that
comedy
was
scene.
cool the last time I went to Montreal, actually, and you might be interested in this. There's actually way more French comedy happening, but like it's not really on our radar,
Yeah.
right? So I went with a couple of friends who do like bilingual shows and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and it's popping.
I'm not good enough at French that I would feel comfortable being funny in French. Do you know what I mean?
what
I
happens
feel
is
like
I-
I lose my personality.
Yeah, I personally I'm not fluid enough. Like I understand French if somebody's speaking at me, but my actual pronunciation is terrible. So what I end up doing most times is just like, you talk to me in French, I'll talk to you in English. It'll be fine. You know?
Yeah, I do that a lot too. Which is lazy. I should just try and talk
Yeah, you
French
should
more,
teach
but
me.
Well, I can't speak. I don't know many words, but the ones I know, I pronounce them perfectly.
Anytime people would like insist on talking in French to me when I go there or somewhere else, I'm like, vrai, je pense,
Wow, got really
le
cult-
temps
got really
quelque
cultural.
tombe,
Very
you know.
European. I like it.
I like the body language
C'est
too.
vrai. That's like a Toronto man's
we
accent
just went
in
up
French.
like a whole like
No,
level
yeah.
of class right there.
C'est vrai is definitely like the version of
That's-
my like totally on the podcast.
Yeah.
I notice I say totally so much, but it's just like I'm listening, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
like c'est vrai, you know,
vrai.
c'est vrai,
Maybe start
That's-
saying that.
c'est vrai.
That's exactly like I said.
t-shirt.
That's a French Toronto man's accent.
Yeah.
Just like true. C'est vrai la famille, mon frère. Vrai.
That's true. But maybe the French are the origin of true femme because c'est vrai femme or c'est vrai mon famille.
C'est la vie à deux. That's cool.
Oh, funny. What you got, babe?
Toronto man's number 1, Bruce MacArthur, serial killer.
Oh, he's the
He's the guy.
He pled guilty, right? So
the
that
Grim
was-
Gardener
He went down. The
is
Grim
what
Gardener.
the
yeah. So how
Gardner.
many? There were 7 last I checked. 8 now.
8 men. Did you hear about the post-defense rituals?
What?
Dun, dun, dun.
No.
It's dark. So yeah, MacArthur posed his victims' dead bodies and photographed them wearing a fur coat with a cigar between their lips, and it's the same fur coat. So
Like he weekend
he would
at
like
Bernie's
bring the
them.
same fur coat and like put them in this fur coat with a cigar and take a picture.
But like as they were
after they were dead,
after
basically.
they're dead. Oh shit! But
So just
why?
I mean, like it speaks to like that. What strikes me about that is you've heard about that level of like kind of what's the right word? I like
Serial
sickness,
killer.
weirdness,
Yeah.
psychosis.
Maybe.
But it's never had that tone. This like cigar and like fur coat.
Yeah,
is,
that's
different
like
than
make
anything I've
movies
ever-
about him in a few years
they
level.
will.
I think though it's weird because at this point I feel like it's being a serial killer is so mimetic. It's so lame. Like, you know, you're just trying to outdo each
It's so
other.
1997, isn't it?
Exactly. It's so old school. It'd be like, oh, you just want attention, kill a bunch of people, dude. Come on. So
What,
like,
so if you're a young serial killer and you're listening at home, what should you do with that time and energy instead?
just get on Twitter, my guy. Just don't worry about it. Just
I
get
don't
a
know
hobby.
if Twitter needs more serial killers.
All right, you know what? You know what? Hang on. And serial killers always.
That's a good idea. Young serial killers.
Serial killers always have this like weird hobby that they put strange amount of time into, and then they turn that into some facet of their killing.
Yeah.
Like instead of starting to kill, just start doing something else. Just
Like figure
continue
skating or something.
Yeah.
No, I joke, but figure skating is the kind of thing where if you're like an obsessive serial killer type, maybe you just get really good at it.
Imagine
No,
that, eh?
forget about that. There's too many blades. We don't need. We don't need to give him no ideas.
Good point. Yeah, well,
I unfortunately also have a depressing one, but I might as well keep it along those
let's
same
keep
lines.
it sad.
When I crack that.
You know how we do here at Damaged Goods? We like to keep it sad as much
Yeah.
as possible.
Did you guys hear about the girlfriend who encouraged her boyfriend to commit suicide? This was a couple years ago,
Yeah.
or maybe a year ago or something. So she was sentenced to 15 months in jail, and I would like to know your thoughts on that.
That's a tough
Do you
one.
remember this? Do you remember this story?
I heard about it tangentially. through
Yeah. So
Reddit.
basically, what happened, for those of you who don't know, is
have my
a
keys.
girlfriend was texting her boyfriend who had been telling her about his suicidal thoughts for a while, and he basically was in a car in the garage with the carbon monoxide on or whatever, and
Yeah.
she was texting him, and he was just like, "I don't know if I could do it, babe," and she's like, "Do it. This is what you came here to do. You've been talking about this for so long. Just be a
damn.
man and do what you said you were gonna do." So basically, she's texting him stuff like that, and he kills himself.
Yo, she's a little too supportive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta.
So is she
Stand by
is she
Oh, she's 100%.
responsible, and
Nah.
how long should she be in jail for?
100% she's
And
He wants to
responsible.
commit suicide.
I mean, and hang on, how long were they together?
I don't
I don't
have
know if
no
that matters.
idea.
I want to know. I do want to know because
I'll
that's
tell you
the
what.
They
sort
were
of,
really
yeah.
young, so I think that
Not long.
it was probably like a year max.
So like right out of high school or something.
Less
Yeah,
than
yeah.
that, less
Or
than
might
that
have even been
even.
end of
How
high
old was
school.
he?
I think it was like 17, 18 or something
Oh,
like
okay.
that.
Yeah.
The tone I took from it when I first read it is when you read her messages to him, you almost get the impression she was never really into him at all, because they're cold. They're like, kill yourself.
Yeah.
It's just, she's like, she just tells the motherfucker to kill himself.
So part of
So
the
I get the impression it's almost like some like, might it be some like manipulation shit? Like she was always
It's
manipulating
it's
him.
actually not that. If you,
But hang
I
on,
think you're
but hang on.
misremembering the
Am I?
messages because I
Even-
read them recently.
even if it's something different, like
No, she
a
does.
lot of people
she
are.
does say that like, well, you'll be like you came here to do this.
But
today.
she's not saying it like a bully, like kill yourself. She's saying it like, babe, this is what
She's
you
saying it
wanted.
in a really-
like she's
yeah.
saying
Oh,
it like that.
Yeah. No, I know she. No, but I just mean no. You're right. I know she puts.
But I mean,
I know there's babe
there's
in
a
the
chance
text
that maybe she
message.
didn't even think he would do it, and
Yeah,
that she was
a lot
being
of
like
people.
all weird
Hang
and
on, a lot of
romantic
people are
about
trying
it.
to argue that she was just trolling him. You know,
No way.
but like,
That's-
based on what I've seen, it's just like, no, that's obviously not true. Don't nobody make jokes like that, especially if you know he already had, But the thing that makes it strange is just like they keep calling her his girlfriend. It was just like, what about the family? Like, I want to know all that back. I've been watching a lot of true crime, so I
Yeah.
want to know all that background does matter in the case.
Yeah, no,
she's
totally.
obviously culpable to a state, but like,
Yeah.
there are some stories.
But
where
I almost think her being responsible is almost separate from any other issues there might have been. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just like, so because of those texts that we know are real, how much level of responsibility does she deserve now that he's already gone? You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
why I want to know the rest, because
Yeah.
you got to have the whole story to be able. You can lay it out as two different sentences or two different trials or whatever, but how did she come to be in such a unique position? It's not somebody who maliciously goes out and looks for this person. And there's more than what just
totally.
happened.
It's not like she
There's-
was trying to find a guy who would be
Yeah,
willing
it's-
to kill himself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not some sort of
All right, how you doing? How you
she's the
doing
man
there?
I found the
prank
text, I'm
gone
just
wrong.
reading.
But when you hear about things like that, because there's a few cases myself where back home, like this girl, she's a couple classes lower than me, and this dude who is a notorious womanizer, they get together for about 4 or 5 months, takes her virginity, and then like breaks up with her. Right?
Yeah.
Classic high school story. The difference is that this girl's dad was a cop and he had guns in the house. Right? She goes, grabs one of his guns, shoots herself in the heart. Locked herself in the bathroom first, so she didn't actually die instantly. It took a while too, but they just could not get to her, right?
Darker on
Yeah, we went super dark.
That's what I mean. It was just like, yeah, this, and it's not like we don't have proof of whether or not he was talking to her or, you know, the difference in this day and age is just like he must have said something. Right, something must have happened. You can't just ignore, you know.
Yeah, but I think that's even less responsibility on his part. Do you know what I mean?
Based on the story,
unless he's like, kill yourself.
Hang on, based on the story we have. That's the difference between.
But you said they have his text, or
no, they don't.
Oh, they don't.
Because this was 10 years ago. Nobody's doing that now. We have so much access to shit, right?
He just said, based on what we know, and I was like, oh, that's where the theme song drops.
I was like, why are you singing deep tunes?
Based on the evidence we have.
So hang on. What kind of music do you do?
It's just him doing that.
That's what I do.
What'd you find?
I found a website called thispersondoesnotexist.com.
Whoa.
And every time you hit generate, it just generates a new face of a person that isn't real.
Oh, I thought you were going to read the text of the girl. I was just like, what is happening?
I was going to until this motherfucker took it so dark that I'm trying to save my podcast.
I'm sorry.
No.
I looked up and he's like, he shot himself. He bled out, but not immediately. It was slow. And I was like, oh no, I gotta save this.
You know, there was this joke I used to do. My dad and I used to watch a lot of like action movies, you know, like Rambo and shit like that.
Yeah.
I think
he died a miserable death.
In one of the Rambos, he like sneaks up behind a guy and like cracks his neck, right? Classic action hero shit, right? And my dad, out of nowhere, is just like, you know, you don't die from that, right? When they break your neck, you just like asphyxiate. That's what it is. And to me, that was like either he was
child abuse. I'm telling you,
either he was trying to scare me.
That is mind blowing, though. Is that true?
This is the thing. Either he was trying to scare me,
was that
just for the sake of it, or he was trying to make sure that I never became a bad guy henchman.
Yeah.
Just like you die the most terrible death.
Yeah.
Just make sure you're always doing the right thing. You know.
Yeah, you think you're being nice and killing them quickly.
Yeah, you're really not. No.
That's crazy.
I did a full year of community college for bad guy henchmanship before I realized that it was a dead end career.
Exactly.
That I was about 10 years too late to get into that particular
because
field.
you could be having a nice life, have a pension, shit like that. But the only reason
have a pension if you were a henchman.
Yeah. The only reason that some super villain, the only reason that some super villain bad guy is hiring you elite fighter, is because there's some shit way more bad than you ever gonna be coming at this guy, and he's using you as fodder. You know?
You get hired as a henchman and you walk in and it's a warehouse and there are 99 other guys dressed exactly like you.
Yeah,
you're not special to him.
Just go. No,
you know what I mean,
no.
Just go down the street, apply to the Best Buy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just
if you go in and there's like one other guy, well, maybe you're a bodyguard, but if you don't really want to be one of those 99 henchmen who all wearing the same color fedora. No, you're gonna get killed one at a time in like 2 seconds in the movie.
Maybe you could then hide in the crowd and like slip out. You know?
Yeah. When everyone's coming at the guy and he's just killing them all.
Yeah, you just push more people in front of you, you know, and then you become
just fall like
you just fall over and just chill. And
what's end game there is like
no, just wait and you can stay on the payroll longer than everybody else. You know what I mean?
And keep showing up to all the fights, but then just keep doing the same thing.
Put in your timesheet with
keep changing your names. So
how much fight damage.
Gary died in that last fight.
No, just be like, yo, I was in the hospital this area.
Really he fucked me up real bad.
No, man, I took a plane to Canada. They passed me out. We come back.
It's going to be really suspicious if you're a henchman and you last even like 3 or 4 fights.
I think so.
I've seen movies. These people do not last long. The guy always like murders through the henchman.
Yeah, straight. And no, you know what? Sometimes he leaves a bunch of people alone. Whenever you watch certain movies, only movies
the ones
like
who run when he turns around, there's 2 left.
Yeah,
and
if
they're
you
just like,
run early enough, you
and
can
then
get
they run.
The movies like Kill Bill, where she like systematically destroys each person, and I love the ones where the gang has like a number in its name, so you know how many people in there, like the crazy 88.
Yeah.
So you're just counting them. That's all it is. Just that, you know, Tarantino just puts
rule number 1 is start a gang. Don't put a number in it.
Don't put a number.
Know how many of you there are.
Call it the Infinity Gang.
Wow, that's so smart.
Yeah.
And you know who you want to be if you don't want to be a henchman. You want to be the guys. There's like always like 88 henchmen. So if it's the crazy 88, there's 86 henchmen, but then there's 2 who are like specialized fighters.
Yeah.
With like 2 swords.
No, man.
Do you know what I mean? Where they're like, they're like the last line of defense.
Hire a bunch of twins. Hire a bunch of twins, because then when someone thinks that they've already killed this person, and the exact same person hops out at them, that's gonna fuck them up psychologically. Yeah, that's.
So you're saying you have a whole army, and then like another duplicate army of that army hiding for pop outs?
Yeah, man.
Just like break them down psychologically.
Exactly. You got to take every edge. Have you ever read The Art of War, or even like the five?
I'm pretty sure that's not in the
Five Rings of Ninja. The Art of War specifically. They don't talk.
I listened to the audiobook.
Yeah.
I don't. They didn't get.
But hang on.
Have clones.
But this is exactly. They don't say it specifically, but part of it was just like temporizing ground, which is one of the concepts in the thing. Is conditions that change as you battle, right?
Wow.
That's one of the things. So one of the conditions that has changed is like, now you have access to everyone's Facebook. You can just find a bunch of twins and do that, or genetic engineering. It's just like, the whole point of the Outer War is like, you got to use every available, side of the fight. Don't just go for strong fighters. Find a way to make the entire fight yours.
What if you had like warriors who were like really good at like dirty talk? So you were like turning the other side on as you're fighting them.
Fuck yeah, you can't fight. No blood's in your brain. It's on your erection, bro. Just that's why the Chinese Angels work so good.
You can't do swinging kicks when you got a giant erection.
It's gonna be
he's
easy.
like licking his lips saying, "Come here." You'd be really like fucked up by that. Try to kill him from afar.
I would love to find my online twin. That would be amazing.
What were you separated at birth with a twin?
No, I just mean like
there's a few people.
the person in the world that looks the person in the world that looks exactly like you.
If we find her and if she's into it, can we have a threesome? Or is
Of course, I would love that.
It's pretty conceited of you to say.
I know. I would love that. I would love nothing more than to
I definitely
do
wouldn't fuck
myself.
you with another person that looks like me.
You wouldn't?
No.
Not into you?
No.
Not your thing.
Every time I jerk off, I go,
It's not you, it's Johnny Sins. Shout out Johnny Sins.
Whitney Cummings' doppelganger? Do you follow Whitney Cummings? She's a female comedian. She has a doppelganger that comes to her shows that looks so much like her, and not even just in picture, but in video. She takes like video of their faces next to each other, and then they both start laughing at the same time, and their eyes, like their laugh, like everything's like exactly the same. I want to find that. That would be so amazing.
the Lord accidentally used a mold twice.
Yeah, exactly. You guys,
I love that there are people who actually would say that in that situation.
Yeah.
Isn't it cute when the Lord uses the mold twice?
The mold. That one always freaked me out.
Like we're made of fucking ceramic.
Yeah, that always freaks me out. It's just like, the mold as in there's some sort of like factory in the sky that's like pounding people out. Why couldn't they put better materials in the mold?
I know enough people will say, "Oh, they don't really mean it," but I think some of them do. I know a lot of them don't, but I think that some of them do.
Whatever y'all believe, y'all just believe it.
I'm not here to tell you don't believe it, but once in a while I might say it's silly.
Yo, all of it's silly. I'm not afraid to say that.
Yeah.
All of it's silly, but even what I think I believe is silly. I had, even from when I was a kid, I would identify as an agnostic who's wrong. Just to have some, breathing room on that. And people are like, what do you believe? And I was like, I believe I gotta work hard.
I'm swagnostic.
Swagnostic.
That's me.
Speaking of swag, I love your, would you call that a fanny pack, or is that a cross?
Yeah, no, this is it. You know what? It's supposed to be a cross bag, but my girlfriend got it as a gift for herself.
So it's a purse.
It really is, but it's mighty convenient because I got like my writing and stuff.
He's all
like
about the fanny pack.
It's about the fanny pack. I have a related question. What's that shirt called? Because there's a word for those.
This is I don't know, but I call this my woke cloak.
You probably know what it is. What are those called? Where it's like,
I'm not sure.
Though. This is hemp. This is real hemp.
There is a name for it for sure, but can white people wear these? Do you think?
I wouldn't see a problem. It's just don't be a dick while they're wearing it.
Now, but what about bleached dreads same time?
No, do not do that.
What about knit cap? Knit into my bleached dreads.
I feel like if you're Remy Shans, you can get away with it.
Shout out Remy Shans, who does follow me on Instagram. No big deal.
Who?
Take a message from
just like a Grammy-nominated Canadian singer.
All right, cool.
Who was like a white guy who kind of got away with that in like the 90s. We'll delete this if this episode will be.
Yeah, if we start working with him, Remy Shans is dope. I love your hat.
But yeah, just to summarize, this person does not exist.com. I just think the funny part of it is this like sentiment that we're so good at like conjuring photo quality faces that like that the AI can just be like, we can just produce.
We could just start making more people in China.
Wow.
Yeah. Yo, 3D
Just put that on the
printing is
board as
coming.
one of the most racist things.
Yeah,
This podcast.
listen, I'm part Chinese. Like,
Okay, are you?
Listen, everybody in Guyana is fucking. My mom's side of the family is like, they're like Dutch Jewish and like black and Chinese. My dad's side of the family is
Isn't that
like
crazy, Jess?
Native and African. Like,
It just creates people.
that's so great. I feel like I've seen her before.
Yeah, that's,
too.
that's the
Like,
weird part. I know that dude.
What?
Yeah.
These are your friends. They're just created out of other
These are
photos
your
and like
friends,
combined.
Doc. I've definitely seen this guy.
Yeah,
I know
for
the dude.
sure.
I've definitely seen that.
We all know that guy.
Yeah.
That lady was my waitress
Whoa.
last night at Wild Wing.
This one looks fake.
She was the manager.
Well, it's if you're listening,
That's
go
an
to
actress.
thispersondoesnot.com. It's a really funny thing.
Is
to do
that your sponsor?
Yeah, that's this segment is unofficially brought to you by.
The rest of the podcast is just us in silence looking at these.
I'm not sure what the revenue stream is for the people at this point. This person does not exist.com, but
It looks
we
like
just
it's
made
just,
them a couple pennies. At
Yeah,
least.
well, they have no ads, so I'm guessing their revenue stream
Some
is zero.
places like run their entire like first or 2 years without ads, and then they start selling because you got to prove that your ad space is worth something.
and you got to
Yeah.
generate some traffic. Good point.
yeah.
Listen,
I tried to get I tried to get some blogs up and running, and it's just too much work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got shit to do.
Okay, so Toronto Man's brought through some
Some Zwickle.
Zwickle
I got that.
5.7% alcohol.
I actually got
It
this
says
for
strong
doing
beer,
a
which
show.
means I'm for sure not going to like it, and Jess is going to end up drinking. But
Don't be offended. He doesn't like
no,
anything.
I don't like
No,
anything.
don't worry about it. This was given to me as a gift for doing a show, and
Nice.
I myself don't drink that often, so
Jess, I hate it, so you should drink this.
I always save.
I hate
them.
everything.
Yeah.
So you're regifting? That's what you're saying?
Yo, I'm not ashamed
And
to
then
say
I
it.
re-gifted it to Jess.
I'm not ashamed to say it. It's just like, listen, I look at it as I was blessed with something, and I want to share that blessing with you.
I like it. It's good.
I'm Italian. That's what we're about. We stay like re-gifting down to like
Exactly.
the weakest member of the family who is essentially force-fed.
Isn't that what there was a movie about, like, these ladies keep giving the same pants to each other over and
Yeah,
over
the
again?
Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
That's the
best
whole
summary of
movie.
that
So
movie I've
it's
ever
just
heard.
like,
I love
yeah, you just regifting shit like forcefully. That's all it is.
Forcefully regifting.
I don't know that
That
that's
might be
what
a
that
podcast
movie's
name.
about.
Forcefully regifting.
That's kind of what it is.
Facebook's gonna try to block us on that one too.
Why?
Fuck you, Facebook ad standards.
So we have this thing where we have to pick a name for each podcast, but
Yeah.
it's so hard to pick because everything we pick is like against Facebook rules.
Yeah, I've had that.
They've
that.
accused us of marketing tobacco products, gambling products.
Yeah.
They once said something about like human trafficking. Oh, that was YouTube. YouTube accused us of human.
Yo,
It was,
YouTube.
it was called Cam Girls and something.
Yeah.
Because our episode.
The YouTube
yeah.
algorithm is so fucked right now, man.
Yeah.
And they're taking down like real channels with good content, and they're leaving up like racist shit. and all
Yes,
kinds
I
of,
wish
like,
I had saved the topic that I talked about last week for this because we just ended up kind of fizzling out on it. But I was talking about how. Basically content is getting flagged from like content creators, so like comedians, whatever, who are posting stuff. Then yet people are like hacking the system, and like girls will be like cleaning my house, but it's them like half naked cleaning their house.
Yeah.
But it doesn't get flagged because it's labeled as cleaning the house. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like all over the place.
They need to. It's so hard. You know what really needs to happen is just like YouTube is end of life. So you guys just gotta find a better platform. You know, I wouldn't even say that there's a better platform, but just find a different fucking platform. You know,
Yeah.
because if YouTube is doing you wrong and is doing your genuine members of the community wrong, it is only going to be a matter of time before that comes for you. Still,
we largely
you know?
don't.
No, we don't focus there.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
We post there because that's, I think, where usage is. I think that's where a lot of people do go to get podcasts.
Yeah.
And like it's our lowest traffic. We probably
It's so weird,
We only
though,
get 30
yeah.
or 40 views on our YouTube, and we get way more than that on the audio,
Everywhere
and way
else, yeah.
more than that on the Facebook. I even put it on SoundCloud because we get 5 loyal fucking listeners.
Yo, it's
and
true.
I'm like, I'm gonna do the upload on SoundCloud for those 5 fucking loyal listeners who prefer SoundCloud, man.
Didn't you stop doing it for a while, but then you noticed that the
forgot.
listens
What?
were like moving? So
I
you're
just
like,
forget.
oh, I guess
once
we
in a
should
while
be
because
doing
it's so low. I will say I forget occasionally, but mostly I get them up there.
I vibe with that because it's the same thing. We recently just started getting the good night tracks on Spotify and shit, and we were gonna stop doing SoundCloud, but it's just like, you're right. There's like 2 people who like always check my shit out, and I was just like, yo, shout out to y'all. Also, shout out to Good Night Rhymes. That's
Man,
what
we sit somewhere in the universe of 300 to 500 loyal listeners, and we're very happy and proud of it. But if I can make that 505, that's not nothing. That's actually a 1% jump, which TV ratings murder for. You know what I mean? Totally. So I'll go after those 5, man.
No, like I had the chance to listen to a couple of episodes before
Appreciate
this.
it.
So I was just like,
you $2.99 without you, bro. We need we need you. We need you out here.
Yeah, so it's just like, and I myself, I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, we listen to a lot.
I do a lot of audiobooks now. You know what I mean? So, because I don't have the time to sit down and read a book. I'm sorry, I can't.
Yeah, I got an audiobooks for a while.
I got shit to do.
That's one of the coolest things about the podcast world is probably more so than any other artistic lane that I'm in. Like we listen to way more podcasts than we make. Like we take in 10 for every one that we make. You know,
I remember like even just like 10 years ago, you could say podcasts were like barely a thing. You know, it was just like, oh, this is a radio show, but you need a smartphone to, you know.
Yeah. Our first sponsored ad that we did, somebody's just like, oh, look, another people with a podcast. Because like, they were so mad that we were like, there's like, who are these people with this podcast? Everyone has a podcast now.
And they basically were suggesting that like nobody cares. And listen, we approach it humbly, and that's why when I say like a few hundred people, like that's why the only reason I say that is in that I'm happy to have a small community of people who think it's funny and that who fuck with the way that we nerd out for comedy and who like how often I bring up porn. I'm about to do another porn story in a moment. And
we talk about porn a lot.
Yeah, by accident.
That was cool.
By accident.
That was cool.
We didn't even realize that was something we were so into until this podcast started.
To the point where people ask what we talk about on our podcast, and I have to bring that up as one of the things. I'm like, well, it's a mixed bag. We talk about the industry. We talk about and porn.
Once you finally get your hands.
I mean, I think those two are inextricably linked, probably.
Guys, listen.
The industry.
Your opulence, letting its glory wash over you.
I'll explain in a second.
Filling you up, fuller.
This does not sound sexy.
Juicier, rounder till you're to the brink.
So, what I discovered is blueberry porn.
Wait, what?
So, do you guys remember from
Please don't say Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka?
Jesus fucking Christ.
where the little girl goes up and becomes
No, man.
There's a new thing called blueberry porn where it's like a girl in like a fat suit covered in like blue makeup, and then she's like her getting fatter and fatter and then juicier and juicier, and you'll have to just drink all of the juices. And it's I found it on Vice, but the more I collect, it's like I just found so much like actual like this. What I just played was an Indiegogo pitch video because they're raising money to make like a really high budget.
For this
blueberry porn.
You know what? I think we're too attracted to blue people as is.
As is.
We already got the whole Aladdin thing coming out with
Blue
Will
Man
Smith.
Group.
Yeah, the Blue Man Group. You got Avatar. All this shit is too much.
Listen,
too much.
I had issues I didn't think about.
Yeah, and this is the thing. It was just like we can't even deal with the races we already got. You add in one, you gonna add blue people. What the fuck's gonna happen?
So niche. Okay, now we're just watching porn. Did she explode?
Yeah, she exploded.
Is it weird that I kind of get it?
Yes, but
yeah. Okay, I'll explain.
Walk us
Let
through
me
it.
explain. So I had an ex who had like a little bit of like a large woman fantasy, and he would like fantasize about like being like a little tampon and like being like shoved up like. No, this is like
Bro,
real shit that a lot of people.
I know you just heard that too.
No, this is like a lot of shit.
No, I know
this
you
is
just
a
heard
common
that too.
thing. It's not that uncommon.
I know.
You know what? Continue.
Yeah.
Continue.
So I could kind of get like that in a real primal way. I kind of get like the large, like she's exploding. She's getting so big. She's going to explode. Like I kind of get it as like a primal urge of like that large woman. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Bigger is better. Bigger is better.
Listen, when I see a big woman who's beautiful, because like that's not my main thing, but occasionally I do see like a big woman who's beautiful, and I think, in the respectful way. Like she could get it, and I would never go just say that to her. But in my mind, you know, that's the thing I think about too. Is like that, like the curves are like the big curves are sexy, and so I can see that. I'm not anti big girl. Like, occasionally I see a big girl, and I'm like, yeah, you can climb up on that, and
that's true. But this shit is weird as fuck.
Okay, I'm gonna.
That's what I'm saying. I get that.
I don't even think this is. I don't even think this is a big girl thing.
And talk about one of my own things.
Sure.
So sometimes and this porn doesn't even exist because I've looked. Sometimes I wish there was porn out there with just like a dick so giant that it's like the size of this room, and then it just like comes and just like covers the girl completely in cum. Do you know what I mean?
That exists.
Like
honey,
I would
100%. But
what's it called?
It's different. It's different in that they don't get a huge dick. What they do is just they get a really like a pixie girl, right? And anime and shit like that because that's the same,
trust me, I found it. I found it in
Yeah,
anime.
you found that
Let
in
me
anime.
tell you.
But like they're not gonna
Jess
do.
isn't a pixie. She wants it to feel like the woman's her size.
I know.
You just gotta
a regular size.
You gotta change
They would have
that
to like
scale.
green screen it or something.
So here's a question I have: is it like a floating dick?
Yeah, because
like
I don't
Does
care.
it have legs?
It doesn't matter if there's a person attached to it or
If
not.
it had little arms and little legs.
Yes.
No, it's just got like rockets. It's
Either got to be a giant man or just a floating dick, I think.
So is it floating? It's like floating, like bobbing in the air, like this.
like telekinesis
Yeah,
floating.
yeah, that's cool. I like that.
And on the back, is it just like rounded, where like there would be like, or is it like
I don't think about the back.
Is it like severed? Is it like a severed?
No, I would never want, never severed.
Okay.
Never said.
You know what they say?
Severed.
Never say sever.
But yeah, I'm just saying, no kink shame. I get it. I
100%.
get that type of.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I was
I'm not
borderline
judging it
shaming.
at all. It's just it wouldn't be my thing.
Yeah.
You know.
But
Fair.
it's they got just like you said. You're like, no, not from Willy Wonka, and it's like, yeah, that was my same reaction.
man.
It's like such like a funny innocent
Oh,
moment
man.
to pull like a porn
yeah.
infatuation from.
I mean, there's been other theories about Willy Wonka that each one of them is like a fetish sort of thing. Like there's a sexual undertone to.
I
think
could
hang out
get
with the wrong
that.
people.
Yeah.
I feel like do I just get every sexual perversion?
I get that.
I'm like, yeah, I get it. I get it.
I'm with you. I mean, not with you, but I'm with you.
Yeah. my thoughts exactly. Do we want to do app time with Jess?
Sure.
Give me the theme song.
It's app time with Jess, and it's gonna be happy when she gets real happy.
It's different every time. So there's an app called Social Call, and this is the description of it. When was the last time you talked to your parents? What about your grandparents? How about your best friend from high school that you lost touch with over the years?
What up, Justin?
The internet has made it incredibly easy to stay in touch with all the people you form meaningful connections with over the course of your lifetime. But far too often we get bogged down with the nonsense of everyday life, and staying in touch gets lost in the shuffle.
very wordy.
Social Call helps you to stay in touch with the people you care about by setting your favorite contacts and reminding you to contact them on a regular basis. So basically, it's just like a thing.
It reminds you to call your friends.
It's just like call your mom.
Damn. I mean, nah.
basically the naggy wife app.
Yeah. What's it called?
Social Call.
That don't even. That's nah. I mean, that sounds like just anxiety
And also, these
calling.
are always the problems
alerts
with those
all
apps.
friends?
The problems with those apps is how much info you have to input into it.
Yeah, just
Do you know
use
what I mean?
I
Because-
use my calendar for certain things. Like,
It's also
Yeah.
not really like a. They've not solved the problem.
You know
at all.
what?
I'm just saying,
yeah.
Let's say you think that that's a problem.
It
and
is
you,
kind of.
Let me
I don't
finish.
think
Let me
they've
finish.
solved it.
Let's say you think that that's a problem. You're like, oh, I didn't call my mom in like 2 months, and I feel like I should know to call her more often. So you set it, call mom every 2 weeks or something like that.
I mean,
okay.
part of the thing is just like after a couple of weeks, you'll develop the habit yourself, and then you'll be able to,
Yeah.
You could do that with if you let's say you had that thought, you could, with your phone right now. If you're listening and you're like, you know what, I don't call my mom enough.
Yeah.
Take out your phone, go into your calendar, the new phones are so smart. You could literally put in call your mom and set it be every 2 weeks, the first Tuesday of every month, the last Monday of every third week. It's like
You could do anything. You could do it. I think part of what this is just like people being lazy on a minute scale, and it probably like imports your contacts and like does all that.
It's
And
stuff.
like you said, you have a calendar, so it's just like, how many calendars do we need? Let's just put it all on one
fun.
calendar.
That's more what I mean.
Yeah.
And these guys are like with that long. This is why I'm annoyed because that paragraph that Jess read, they put so much work into that.
Yeah.
And the app isn't even really an idea. It's just a rebranded calendar that you already have on your phone that does the same thing.
You know what? I'm gonna try it. I just want to see.
I like that you play devil's advocate with
No,
me.
at
It's a
this
strong move.
point, like it's got to be something that they thought they did different. I'm gonna go. It's just like when somebody builds condos.
How often do you call your mom? Do you call your mom enough?
My mom and I text actually.
Okay,
she
cool.
WhatsApps me a lot. Because like she doesn't live too far away, so I'm always going over there.
Nice.
She makes some bomb home cooked food, and it's just like, I go over there.
Can I come over?
100%. She would love to, It's weird though because she cooks stuff and then like if it's in the fridge for more than 2 days, she's not gonna eat it, right? So when we were living together, I would just like climb out of the basement and grab all the.
That's what I miss about living with my
100%.
family is like leftovers. Like we never have leftovers because we would probably just
make
throw
the
them
right
out.
amount, essentially.
Yeah, we make the right amount.
I mean, if you're here, you have to.
We often have leftover ingredients that we have sitting in the fridge for the next
gotta
day that
make
we
something
use.
else, yeah.
We'll make with that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
we often don't have leftover of the.
That's like thrifty Toronto life. You gotta like
You
be careful with that shit.
gotta figure
also
it
when there's
out.
two of
Can't
us,
overcook.
And I do 70 or 80% of the cooking. It's just really easy to make exactly
Certain
the right
things.
food for two people.
Yeah,
That's a relatively
You
easy
learn how to do it.
target.
Yeah.
With some meals, I make more, and then I have some for the next day, just because it's like easy to make more. But
Yeah, like
for most
meal
stuff-
prepping.
Yeah, but mostly no.
So next up. Next
do it.
up is Massy or Mass. Maybe it's Mass with an E at the end. I'm going to call it Massy. Massy is a Massy is a peer-to-peer product recommendation platform that, unlike Instagram or other options on the market, has no sponsored content or paid-for recommendations.
Yet.
I like it.
So
No, you can't say yeah because I think a company like that, if they were to build a user base solely based on that, that's a tough bridge to come back across.
They do it all the time though.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
There's
a lot
no
of
example
companies.
of anybody who made like
No.
their entire brand was we don't do ads.
But what I
and
mean
then they
though,
just started dropping
what I
ads.
mean though is just like it's exactly the same trick as the old trick in the book. It's just like build it on something that's specifically like non-monetization folks. But what are you gonna do if they just start?
People
throwing ads
will
on there?
leave, for sure.
People will leave, but will it be fast enough for them not to make back their money?
No, and they could do it. I'm not
could.
arguing that it's impossible they could do it. I'm arguing that generally speaking,
If this is their
when a
pitch for
company
sure,
that has like billionaires invest like angel investing in their app and stuff, they're not going to build a platform based on not having ads and then sandbag
And
the
then
world and go
throw
ads.
back the
'Cause
ads.
it's just throwing you're burning your money, man. People are going to jump ship and it fucks your whole image up.
I think then it's called
That's
mass.
a great.
It's probably mass because it's probably like a play on en masse. You know,
what is that?
I don't know.
which is like is a term of like
Sexy, though.
people leave en masse.
Oh, en masse.
Right?
En masse.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's
Could
probably
be.
just
Mass with an E.
just mass.
Okay.
But in the way that Twitter is just like other social media sites, but with a limited character count and some basic functionality differences, I'll take something that the basic functionality differences, we approach money differently.
Yeah.
Like that's a
Yeah.
that's a good pivot point for me because if people start going there, I would be quite happy to put my content there and give people a more
Is what
like, ad-free
cryptocurrency was
experience.
supposed to do. Basically, it was supposed to ensure that platforms that doing that sort of things will have, a safe market to operate in, but that would not be necessarily controlled by any singular government or something like
How
that.
do they make their money though?
But that's one of the things. Is just like most
Is it
cryptocurrencies
99
are
cents a
pretty
month situation or something,
Are
or?
pretty
I don't
fucking.
think so.
Most
not sure.
cryptocurrencies are pretty volatile, right? So you can't really do much with it.
I'd have to look into it. Have you ever talked about your crypto stuff on the podcast?
I lost money.
Yeah.
Everybody lost money. I mean, and you know what's
We
fucked
didn't
up?
lose like a crazy.
You know what's fucked up is that I was working at a computer store. Somebody told me about cryptos, right? And then I started building computers to get them. I have 5 Bitcoins that I got over like 2 years, and then I sold them when they were like $500.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were gonna pop to $25,000 each, right? So I'm like, because I was moving, I needed the cash,
Yeah.
sold off everything, and I'm like, damn.
Oh, Mass doesn't say no ads, and you didn't say that either. I think I misunderstood.
No sponsored content
no paid for post, no sponsored contact, no fake reviews. So the idea is that every review is real.
Yeah.
Every star or half a star is
Yeah.
not paid for, but there will be ads galore.
There'll be ads everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So other stars on other websites are paid for?
other websites and like other rating systems and other reviews are massively hacked.
I'm talking specifically about stars. So if on
Depends on-
Amazon, if a product has 5
yes.
stars, those
Yes,
are paid for.
Some of
Not-
them,
not every-
some of them are.
You can go on
Yeah.
Fiverr and like right now you can go on Fiverr and purchase
Yeah.
1,000 people to go rate you somewhere
rate,
5
yeah.
stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everywhere does it. And that's why the reviews are all. If whenever you read the reviews, and it's like this product is great.
Yeah.
I really took some time with it, and it's just like it's
You know what?
so generic. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny is that sometimes you see those and it really proves that no matter what system you design, crime will always be one step ahead.
Yeah, it's so true.
You know?
there's always some
Yeah.
way to.
There's always
a way to hack
somebody
it.
that's looking at you close enough to like get around your terms of service.
We've been talking about Instagram lately that they really are like cracking down and making it a way that like everything has to be real. You know what I mean? Like people still buy views. But if they buy views, they're not going to get like somebody sponsoring them because that sponsor is smart enough to know, hey, give me your insights and blah, blah. And they're going to know that they bought those views and that they're not real engagements because there's no point sponsoring that person.
I don't see the point in it. Like I tried it on some of my old Instagram stuff like years ago when I was doing photography and shit. And it worked for a little while, but it made my feed like garbage. Like my actual Instagram experience is now ruined, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, we use bots that basically just go through and like the posts by people who are fans of podcasts.
Yeah,
That
I
you
do
can
some.
still do, yeah.
I used to do some of that, but like even for what I do, like I don't have to be marketing heavy because I'm a stage performer, right? It's still a different wheelhouse. So it's just like, for me personally, it wouldn't be the best, thing to guarantee my growth. Is I literally come up and be like, yo, follow me on Instagram. I tell people I get that follower.
Yeah, the point I'm making is that even though what we're doing is it's like just quickly engages with somebody and then they come back. It's a certain degree of real, but because it's a lower quality interaction, they become lower quality follows, and Instagram is smart enough. It's like the system is built to know the difference between an enthusiastic follower and a casual follower who doesn't really give a fuck.
And you know what?
So you amassing thousands of these casual followers feels useful at first, but then down the road you realize it actually hurts you a little bit because people start to wonder why you have thousands of these like silent followers.
Yeah, I think what may happen though is just like it's a numbers game. So for every 100 that you get, you'll get one that genuinely likes what you do.
Which is why I continue with.
And it makes sense for you guys because you guys are making content that people can go back and check anytime they want.
Yeah.
Whereas it's like, I'm doing live shows and shit like that. So that's exactly what you need to be doing. But you're right. Yeah, if you see a lot of like passive followers, people are like, what the fuck is going on?
I think the takeaway is it's just like I think there's a point where you can just stop worrying about it and just be authentic and really focus on the quality of the content and putting it in front of the right people's eyes, because all of the tricks that you think are tricks, the algorithm is smart enough to be like, oh, this person's fucking doing this thing.
And once
We've seen
again,
a million people do this thing.
Once again, is the oldest trick in the book because there's really only one trick.
Yeah.
So I'm facing an Instagram dilemma right now, which is that probably about 3 or 4 years ago when me and him were first dating, we were shooting a lot of like local rapper music videos together and stuff. And I started a modeling agency called Jess Robert Models.
Nice.
And I was pretty much a model pimp. I managed a bunch of models and would send them out to music video shoots and stuff
She
like
would
that.
hit them if they didn't do good, man. It was really scary.
Oh my God.
And
She used to hang out at comedy clubs in this booth, and she'd wear a full Gucci suit.
I was with all the
Always writing in a tiny book.
But yeah, I was so I was posting constant pictures of models. Even myself, I was doing some modeling, and I was posting like bathing suit photos and thong photos and all these things.
There were booty shots.
Wow.
Pussy
And so I got a bunch of followers from that. This is like years ago, and now that I'm becoming a
Do you want to
comic,
guess who those followers were?
yeah, here we go.
Do you want to guess who the followers were?
I couldn't guess.
She was starting a modeling agency and posting pictures of her booty.
Oh, okay. So she got every guy in India.
Yeah, just like. Well, I actually didn't check racial. I didn't check racial demographics so much as
It's
gender.
77% men on my Instagram. I
of
checked
course.
my insights, and I was just like, oh man, like I need more girls. I need more comics, just like people who are just there for regular reasons, not just to like look at the booty
Just
pics.
for booty pics.
But you know what? I made my bed, and now I have to fucking make it again. You
Lie in
know.
it and take some.
you made your
Yeah.
booty bed.
Yeah.
Now I have to change my sheets. You know.
Oh.
Did you poop in your bed?
Yeah,
That's good.
I pooped the bed, and now I have to change the sheets.
The metaphor got kind of weird somewhere in the middle there.
Shit the bed.
But yeah, I actually do have to like rebuild my
You're already down
Instagram.
to 71% just from talking about pooping your bed.
Yeah.
No, actually, I think she's
actually
jumped.
up to
She's
80.
jumped up. Yeah.
82%.
Now you're getting a whole new
82%, man.
demographic. Into
I'm gonna
this,
post myself in a blueberry suit.
It's like old men with like white scruff.
Yeah.
Like unkempt
And the
hair.
picture's always like from below. Like,
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
No, from
dark.
like inside a toilet. That's what
You look beautiful, hon, all one word.
Yeah.
Oh, this is funny.
I love it.
I want to kiss your butt.
You want? We'll talk about that later. If you do, you might get zombie deer disease.
Zombie deer.
I feel like you want to talk about it.
This is one of my things on my list.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a thing called zombie deer disease. It's in the same family as the mad cow disease, and legit, zombie deers with zombie-itis or whatever. They walk around with like slack jaw and like their ears are like down like zombies, and they like drag their feet. And they just bring their disease with them, and then if you eat them, you get fucking zombie deer disease. But we don't know. So basically, the thing
Holy
right now that's in the
shit.
news is that it's never gone to people yet, ever. But neither did mad cow disease, and for a long time they were worried that it would, and then it did.
'Cause you
it's
never know.
So right now it never has, but it has gone to other primates during tests, etc. It's just never gone to humans. So it's one of those things where it's like, they're worried that it just some mutation will just change and then it will be able to.
'Cause you
But
never
there's
know.
This thing that's spreading right now called fucking zombie deer disease.
Cause like even like what was it, bird flu and swine flu? Those took like a huge left. People were like, "Yo, we can't get this. It's bird flu, it's swine flu." And then like next Christmas, yo, don't crack open that turkey. You know what I'm saying? Like
Next Christmas, theaters everywhere.
that bird flu gonna get
Bird
you.
flu.
So you know, so
Flu too.
you can't say anything at any time. Especially like I'm not a professional. I just know what I read. You know, just like any normal person.
Bird
But
flu.
You're
starring
not
Michael
a
Pena.
swine flu professional?
I'm not a swine
That's
flu.
why we brought you on the podcast.
Listen. I can direct you to some resources.
Why are you wearing that shirt then, Sam?
Listen, this is my armor. You know what I'm saying?
Against swine flu.
That's what exactly swine flu, particularly.
Swine flu, starring Michael Pena.
Listen, I don't know you people, right?
Definitely Michael Pena is going to be in the swine flu movie.
Yo, and so wait,
Zombie deer disease,
You
though.
make music, you do hip hop and stuff like that, yeah?
Yeah.
You ever do some freestyles?
No.
No?
I used to.
Yeah, man. I was saying like we could throw down a freestyle here if you wanted.
You
I
can
don't
if you
know.
want. No, I take it back. You can't. Yeah, no, I don't freestyle. The thing with me is, I rapped for quite a long time. I rapped from the age I was 13 years old. This is 1996.
Yeah.
Wearing high tops and cut off jeans. And I rapped up until last year. So what's that, 2018? So what's that? How many years is that? 1996, so 22 years?
Sounds like
So yeah,
Can't do
and
math right now.
I've
right.
fallen
Close
out of
enough.
love with rapping. Like I think I've rapped all the rap verses that I need to rap.
sure, man.
So now I'm doing other things with my creativity. But yeah, I don't rap. I don't really rap right now.
That's cool.
Which is weird because so often I get
singer now.
introduced as like
Ooh.
like hip hop artist, and it's like I have a lot of like I have hits that are rap songs,
Yeah.
and I still
Yeah.
perform them
And
sometimes.
he's still
but-
coming out with music.
It's cool because
a little more, like,
you're right
soulful.
now.
Yeah.
Even what we're doing, like it isn't all rap, like straight rap.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
all
Like
it is.
because hip hop is like spread more than that now.
And we still listen
yeah.
to it. Like I bought Jess 12 vinyls for Christmas, and they're like the 12 vinyls that like make up our relationship. And in there was like Schoolboy Q and like Kendrick. So like, we still listen to that shit, but it's just not when my pen touches the paper, that's not what comes out of me anymore.
Yeah.
Which is a long-winded answer, but
You
but
run
it's
the
weird
rap
because
drive,
I am a hip hop artist. It still says that in a lot of places if you YouTube my
You know, and
Google my
it's just
name.
like I found even like some of the freestyles we do aren't necessarily all rap, because if the definition of hip hop is expanded, so must the definition of freestyle.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it has to be boom bap all the time.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And like our friend Donnie Yonder, like he came on this podcast. He's like the definition of he's around right now. He's a young like dope rapper right now, and he makes traditional boom bap to the most nth degree. By the way, it's not all he makes. He makes other things as well. But the
Sorry,
boom
what's
bap
his
shit
name?
he makes, his
What's
name
his
is Donnie Yonder.
Donnie Yonder.
But the boom bap stuff he makes is like a la 1993, Far Side, like, and we love it. It's fucking great. It's just, I think there's fewer and fewer people who are making really exciting versions of that in 2019.
They're not trying to make that no more.
No, there's other things.
Yeah, that's what it is, because what the main market listener is looking for now, like they'll take a little bit of old school with them, but what they really want to do is they want to rebel as hard as fucking possible, right?
Modern hip hop is very punk rock.
Specifically, right? So you got to take that into account. It's just like, they're not saying necessarily that what you got is whack. It's just like they want to hear something new, because they could always come back and listen to you later.
It's waves, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why all the I hate to use what is his name, Tekashi 6ix9ine as the example, because he's shitty, but his genre
has sparked a new thing entirely.
And like you said, it is really like rebellion.
But I don't think you know what? I don't give him any credit for that, because not only is he shitty,
that's why
person,
I said I hate using him as the example.
he was like manufactured pretty much, right? And exactly. He's not really bringing anything to the game other than like a good gimmick that was fun to laugh at. He has some party bangers, but like
sure.
I would even push Lil Pump before Tekashi.
Yeah, it's tough because I've got a complicated relationship. It's like anything, man. When you spend 20 some odd years in something that you're passionate about, it's like you ask a dancer 25 years in about dance, and it's like they're just gonna take a.
How much time we got?
It's like how much time do you have? And it's like I love where it's gone. I hate where it's gone.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I love how.
I would say love more than hate, though. All the people you came up with who are still in the industry, you are the most like embracive of like the new culture.
But for example, so here's an example that's worth actually commenting on, because I've got a POV on it. There's an artist who I've been a hater of, and even though I'm not a hater, like if someone's not good, I go, you know what? Who says being good's the priority? Like, I'm about it. Let's try some different shit.
It's true though.
But there's one artist who I just couldn't wrap my head around, and then his delivery, his attitude, what he's saying, I'm just like, kind of fuck this guy. And it's 21 Savage. I just never really like I heard his music a million times. I kept giving it a chance, and I was just like, he's not talented. I know guys who do this exact sound and style.
It's not about that.
Better. No, I hear you.
Yeah.
But the thing that he does, whatever reason you want to define he's good, I could find you people who are good at that.
Yeah.
Better.
And have something else too.
And it's catchier.
Yeah.
And it bangs harder. And it's more, you want to rap along harder.
It's about the machine, man. It's about the machine.
So then everyone tells me that this new fucking record with J. Cole is the one that's going to redeem him. And I'm going to be so...
Savage?
Yeah. Savage.
Yo,
I played that shit.
Who's rocking with Cole? I'm not looking at Savage. I'm looking at JID. I'm looking at Earth Gang, right? Those guys are banging.
And J. Cole's verse isn't bad.
J. Cole's verse is great.
Yeah.
But it was so bad. Yeah. So I do say free 21. I know he is free right now. Like, I don't want him caught up in this immigration situation for anyone.
Yeah, because nobody deserves
But he should get better at rapping, is what you should say.
It's not even better. It's like... I'm okay.
Yachty got better.
Yachty got a little better.
Yachty got a lot better.
This is the thing that I'm saying. I don't want Yachty.
Dickie got better.
Yeah.
Dickie was always good.
Dickie was always pretty good though.
Yeah. I don't want Yachty to be Jay-Z or Nas. I want Yachty to be Yachty. I just wanted Yachty to be on the beat. That was my whole thing with Yachty.
Yeah. And now he is.
I'm cool, yo. Yeah. And in 21's case, I just feel like every song is just and that's fine, but then like give me another thing.
Yeah.
And it's just he's a one trick pony. It's not
or give me amazing production behind that, and there isn't always.
It's not good,
sometimes the production behind it is just like, this is a boring beat.
Really, I'm just waiting for Gambino's next.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody's waiting for Gambino's
a visionary
next. But he's busy right now. I haven't watched the last
I'm being a hater,
season.
but I'm not a hater. I do focus on the shit that I love.
Didn't he say the last Gambino album is his last Gambino album?
It'll probably be something
government
new.
name, or a new alias.
Also, like, I haven't even caught up to the show. Like, he's doing so fucking much. We're like, Atlanta season 1 and 2 are great. I have to catch up.
Yeah,
Atlanta's incredible.
Atlanta's so great. So I was just like, sure, he's taking a while to drop an album. It's because he's filming a series.
Well, the next album for him, because the last album he established that he's a cultural like trendsetter. He's at the head of a movement right now, and so I think whoever he signed to, don't know who it is putting a lot of money up front to give him the producers he wants, the arrangers he wants, the studios he wants, the musicians he wants to make exactly the masterpiece he wants to make. And that takes time. You know what I mean?
I said this before, I'll say it again, is Gambino is going to rise to Michael level.
Yeah. He's a
very, very, very.
I didn't get it early because the first thing I was exposed to was his stand-up comedy, and that's his weakest thing.
I saw him in sketch early, and he was.
I didn't hate it.
Yeah,
but I was like, oh, this is okay. I remember thinking like, oh, this is okay.
Yeah.
And then I was never a huge Community fan. That's the show he was on, right?
and then 2 years later, he popped.
Yeah. So I remember early thinking like I was lukewarm on him.
Yeah.
But it was only because and then I peeped his music and I liked 3005. I liked a few singles, but some of the rapping I didn't get. So I was a little lukewarm. But then, I mean, I didn't.
It's because he has throw-ins from the show, from the
Atlanta,
the movie.
Yeah.
His recent musical releases are really undeniable, and I think at this point he's sort of got enough momentum on 3 or 4 things that are undeniable. For me, he's at Kendrick level right now, and he could pass that with another 2 or 3 things really being at that.
I wouldn't
And now we can
disagree
start
with
talking
that,
Michael
but
like
I
that.
would also say it's just Kendrick got different goals. You know?
Totally.
Yeah.
I more just mean in terms of like what level of vision, what
prolificness.
level of prolific visionary
Oh,
are we
yeah,
talking?
yeah. Kendrick-
I would put him in the Kendrick.
Kendrick's
which is
an artist,
not
for sure.
bulletproof. Like not everything you make is bulletproof,
Yeah.
but largely I'm down for whatever you're putting out. You know what I mean?
Kendrick takes some like very nice risks that I end up
Yeah,
liking.
he's very risky.
Sometimes it's something I just don't understand. I'm like, all right, cool, that's not for me. But you know,
When we first heard "Damn," I didn't know.
yo,
I loved it, but I didn't know. I didn't know. I'm like, is this the album that I want?
I loved a few songs on it, and I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
but
some
then
of
I
it,
liked
some of
more.
it is
Now
hard,
it's-
and some of it's just like too much
It
art.
grew on us.
Yeah.
Now it's really album.
I still like the previous album better. Is it the one before? Or is there a 2 before?
Untitled has
The one that has
Great records.
the one that has King Kunta.
What's it called? The Pimp a Butterfly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still like it better, and I'm the same way with J. Cole. I still like.
Forest Hill.
Cole's,
Yeah,
Cole's
Forest Hill
new
way
stuff,
better.
I like some of it. Some of it was just like, once again, I
Only
didn't get
Child's
it,
great.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
We really never talk hip hop. I'm happy to do it with you because it's like your
No,
comedy
me too.
and it's
I
like
don't-
fun to go there.
yeah.
But early on when we started, we made a point of being like,
This can't be a hip hop podcast.
because everybody we know is
Our life.
because everybody we know is in the music business. It was like, we so easily could just start a music podcast.
Yeah.
But this is refreshing because mostly we've really avoided doing that. So it is fun to talk hip hop. For
That's
a few
right.
minutes.
That's
Yeah,
right.
totally.
But yeah, no, that's fun for me. It was like kind of refreshed.
Even if you guys know somewhere I could go drop a verse, we can do that later. Let me know.
Listen, I love it. Do you rap like you?
I do like a lot of freestyles. Mostly what I do is like we write for Good Night, which is like a musical comedy thing between me and my friend Mark Goodman. And it's the idea is that we are rappers, the personification of the rapper trope.
Sure.
And so we find a song, either to parody, and we choose a theme, we choose a joke, and then we write the song about that.
Oh, that's fun.
So like you guys are always talking about porn. We have an entire song that's about porn. And
Yeah,
like,
that's really cool.
Yeah, what I'm going to do, pop up the laptop, open sesame, browsing through the categories, Asian to ebony, you know, that sort of,
Yeah, that's dope.
that's the whole song. And then we have another one, being broke, like so much stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, we actually did Rap Battles, which is a comedy bar favorite show, which has 2 fictional characters come together and rap battle it out.
I love that.
They have different dates, but you can check it out on Comedy Bar website.
I think we've seen Rap Battle because they, after the show that you did with Bree Watson, what was the show called that you did? It was basically they gave 2 versions of his life. So he told a story about something real life that happened to him where he got the opportunity to move to the UK, but then didn't, blah, blah, blah. And they did kind of what would have happened if you picked the other thing, and they do a different version of your life, and it's improv.
Like a Bandersnatch thing.
Yeah, exactly, Bandersnatch. And then after that, the sorry, what are they called again? The
Rap Battles?
Rap battles did a thing. Don't you remember? We were there.
I don't remember anything though. So that's not.
I mean, those guys have been going a couple years strong.
Yeah.
We're going to be back there in March, I believe. I don't have a date yet, but that's the sort of thing that's just like, I will do freestyles on my own sometimes when we go out some places. So
it's good exercise to do just as like a comedian too. Like just
really
like
is,
your
yeah.
improvisational skills. Like, yeah, it's good.
yeah.
When I'm writing, I sort of freestyle as like that's what I'm doing, but because I'm trying to find, you know, the perfect phrase for this moment. So I'll find myself cycling through ideas and rhythms and like, you know, melodies and like different. I'm just like cycling through
Stream of consciousness type
you know,
stuff.
yeah, exactly.
Totally.
So I do that. I think I apply those years of freestyling in that way.
To be honest, for me, that's a muscle that I need to find a way to work out a little bit more because I can write, but what I'm less good at is like riffing or like just like being in the moment and like, like freestyling, whatever the comedy version of that is.
I also
which
think
guess would
for
be
you, what
riffing.
might happen is you might work backwards. I thought this actually before when you said this to me off the podcast. You said something that this is like like your weak point. And that's like, but I think what's going to happen for you is when you start writing so much material, I think it's going to work almost backwards in that you're going to develop how you're funny and like what the timing is, and then it starts to like bleed back into your how you communicate all the time.
It's better to have more to plug.
And you'll be funnier here because even if you don't use a joke from your thing, it will have similar timing because it's like there's only how they say there's only like 8 stories. Everything boils down to 8 stories. There's only like 16 joke structures or whatever, and it's like so when you're talking about some new thing, it's going to fit in the model of this joke you used to tell about.
One way that a lot of places will teach you how to write jokes is just like write the joke you think, like the first joke you think, and then just keep writing the same joke over and over with a different twist, or like continue the joke, make another turn, something like that, and then stop writing the joke. Now do an entire 180, write a whole backwards version of that joke. Really, you may only come up with like 2 or 3 solid bits out of all that work, but now you really have that. Like you could have just wrote the first joke you thought of and then left it at that, versus doing all this. Yeah, do your homework.
Gotta do the work.
Yeah. I myself am pretty bad at that. I'm just currently like doing a couple exercises to try and get better. Like normally for one of my bits, like one of my 1 to 2 minutes bits, I'm writing 4 or 5 pages of material. That's really going to boil down to 2 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Right? But I think so that it's a good 2 minutes, or it's like the best I could produce after this amount of work.
Until I started writing comedy, I didn't realize like how much like speech memorizing, you know what I mean? It is like, cause like same thing. It's like I'm writing, let's say 5 minutes worth of material and it's like 12 pages or whatever. And then obviously you edit it down and stuff, but it's just like, holy shit. Like I couldn't imagine a few years ago memorizing 12 pages worth of material. You know what I mean? It's like,
constantly
it's crazy when you think of it like that.
Different pages.
I don't even do it like that. Like usually I will break bits up into smaller bits.
Yeah, no, me too. But I just mean when you put it all on 2 pages, you're like, oh, like all put together, it's like 12.
I think of them as just like compartmentalized bits.
Yeah,
because then personally that allows me to keep a handle on the time. Because it's pretty important. If you do absolute or anything like that, certain shows are very strict about their time. You can't go too much over. Don't burn the light. Don't be an asshole, you know?
Yeah.
When you're doing certain shows like that, your time management is very important because some of them are like, you got to think about laugh time too, right? There are some jokes that are a harder punch that you're doing in the mics and it's get 2, maybe 3 seconds of laughter. But if you hit it right in a club, you're looking at 10, 20 seconds. That's your time going out.
20 seconds of laughs?
Yeah.
That's the dream.
That's
the dream.
Yeah. It's true. It's true, right? And now you got to...
That was only 4, by the way.
You gotta, account for all that. So there was one time, like I used to do some music stuff too. I literally took one of my sets into like, what's it called? Fruit Loops.
Oh.
Yeah.
FL Studio, and I put all the laughs in and I added it all up. And it was just like a minute and a half out of my 5-minute set is laughs.
Yeah.
First of all, rule number 1, I want you guys not to laugh. Don't fuck with my time. Shut the fuck up.
Is your job to manage that. So on the fly, sometimes I gotta cut a joke. I gotta cut my closer, or I gotta cut a joke in the middle of that, or I gotta chop a joke in half, or something like that. You're doing all that on the fly.
I remember one of my first shows that did really well. People laughed and it straight up like threw me off. Like I was just like, oh, like people laughed for like, like a good solid like 5 seconds, 10 seconds or whatever, and then I was just like, I don't know at all
now are you even going to remember what I was saying before?
Sometimes it happens when we're fucking. Jess is coming so hard.
I'm laughing so hard.
What was I doing right there?
Oh, man.
I just don't even know where I am.
Hey, that's where you need to use this camera. Get yourself the playback, right? Find out what's happening.
No, I don't want you to Paris Hilton me.
Oh, man.
What else you got?
I don't know.
You're running dry.
I'm getting to the bottom. I have the stuff that I have is just so depressing.
We're also at like 1:45.
We've done so much depressing shit tonight.
Yeah, let's not do anything else depressing.
Hang on. There is some good news coming. It's going to be spring soon. That's all I kind of got.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not really. It's not even close.
Are you a part-time groundhog?
Yeah, that's me. Clif's Groundhog Service. I'm here to help you out. No, but like soon enough. I always like try to look forward for like positive shit.
No,
because,
man.
Like,
February.
I cannot wait until I can ride my bike again around the city. I fucking hate taking
a bike rider.
Not like a cyclist. I ride a bike.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like different.
It is very different. So it's just like
You don't partake in the lifestyle.
I live downtown. We're about to move close to this area, right? And right around here is perfect for cycling, you know? The Danforth's nice and open and shit like that. I used to ride all the way out here.
Shh, don't you tell people where we are.
Yeah, I don't know. March is like the longest month of the year, I find. Like, it's just like, it's like that month where you feel like it should be starting to get warmer and it's just fucking blizzarding.
It just doesn't.
Does March have 31 days?
It does.
Yeah. It is the longest.
Yeah, and February has not as many. So
There you go. It is long.
how many days does February have this year?
28, I think. Unless it's a leap year.
It's not a leap year.
Just
then-
know if it's a leap year.
Because then
Should
it
I
would
know
be
that?
the
Is that my
Olympics.
job?
Then it would be the Olympics.
I didn't assign you that job. I just think that everybody should know if it's a leap year, they should put up signs or something. You know.
It should be.
year.
They should have a
Leap
separate.
year is coming.
a
I just want to know. I want to know if I'm in like a special year. You know.
You will know though. You can just
feel
do
it?
the math.
Oh, you'll just see. But do you look ahead on your calendar each year to see if it's a leap
No,
year?
you just think about what year it is, and if it's a multiple
Well, so
of
what year is it?
4,
So what year is it?
It's 2019, so it's not a leap year.
Oh, is it only the multiples of 4?
It's only the multiples of 4.
Oh,
yes.
so you did know. I didn't know that.
I mean,
So we just had one last year? Is that what you're saying?
no,
That
that was
multiple of 4?
2018.
That's a multiple
Oh,
of 4.
sorry, no, it's every 4 years is leap year. So the last leap year was 2016. So the next leap year will be 2020.
2020.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, we're ready. Now we're super ready.
It's almost 2020, guys. How many albums do you think are going to be called 2020?
is also not a multiple of 4.
I know that.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
I did not know
I
that.
just said it.
How many rap albums are going to be called 2020 next year?
20.
20? Just 20?
20 times 20.
Yeah.
400?
Yeah. At least 400. Which is 100 more than the Spartans. So you know it's serious shit.
Do you base everything based on its relation to the number of Spartans?
Hey, look, Leonidas didn't fucking play. Okay?
I'm playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey right now.
Odyssey
Do
is
you
nice.
fuck with video games?
Yo, I love certain games that just like I got rid of my systems because it eats my time, but I
Yeah.
did play that before I sold my last system.
Oh, nice.
So that's cool.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Red Dead better, but
I didn't have nothing. I missed I missed Fortnite. I missed Red Dead.
I'm not a big Fortnite person because I feel like that's more of an online thing, right? It's not really like like story mode.
I mean,
I
it's,
hate
it's not
online.
even that, but like I missed everything. I played a little bit of Grand Theft. Like I really loved The Last of Us. That was like
The Last of
game
Us was
that-
so dope.
It
Did you
was so
see the trailer for the next one?
Isn't it out already?
Is it out?
I don't know.
No,
Probably.
there's a
I don't fucking know. I'm over
there's
here.
you would I
Last
I'm
honestly
over here with the
Amazing.
listeners.
when
having
I
no
get
idea
The
what you guys
Last
are
of Us,
talking
the
about.
second one, you should watch me play it because it is like a movie. I
really
cried
good.
during
Yeah.
the first one.
The first one had
I like
me,
the end
had
and the
me right
soundtrack.
here. It had me right here.
You cried during
So
Visa
good.
commercials.
But also it was one of those great games because it was built on like a similar engine from the Tomb Raider game.
Yeah.
Which was pretty big like back in 2014, 2015, right? So
Yeah,
when this
I
came
love
out,
the
like
Tomb
it was
Raider
practically
games.
the same game, but now it's zombies.
Yeah.
But like the story is pretty compelling too, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So-
and the graphics were amazing.
yeah. So you don't fuck with games, eh?
No.
Not at all.
I can't. I die.
He's just really bad at them.
I am the worst video game player. For a reasonably intelligent human being, I am the worst video game player you've ever seen.
You know what?
There's a mental block in my mind.
That's fair.
I think the coolest shit. I'm actually not a video game hater. I'm a big advocate of Jess. Like, if you heard about this game, you should buy it. You should play it.
Yeah.
I just can't play it. And you guys are going deep, and it's just like this is deeper than any video game conversation I've ever been on.
Have you played Dark Souls? You played that
He's like,
at
fuck,
all?
let's go deeper.
No, yeah, let's
Let's
go
go all the
deep.
way into Scarborough.
It's all
fucking-
about you, babe.
Cali back.
No, I haven't played Dark Souls.
It's one of the hardest games. I remember reading a review that Ninja Gaiden, which is a throwback to one of like Nintendo's first games on one of their first systems, and they've been making reiterations of the game ever since. And one of the latest games, like Ninja Gaiden Sigma, is like people have cried trying to play this game in public. It's so hard. You know what I mean?
I'm
and then
not
Dark
aware of
Souls.
this crying video game.
Dark Souls just came and smashed all of those records. Was
Yeah.
just like fuck you.
And what
most
what kind of
tears for
game
any
is Dark
video
Souls?
game.
Is it like
it's
an RPG?
It's
or-
kind of like Skyrim. And then if you
Oh,
haven't played
okay.
that, you know.
Jess gave me
Yeah.
a Skyrim last night.
That's fine.
I feel like you're getting silly, and we should wrap it up.
Just because of my silliness?
No, I mean if you have more to discuss.
I don't.
I had questions for you guys, but now I'm too high and drunk to remember
Fair.
any of
That
them.
does happen on this podcast sometimes.
Yeah.
You didn't have a cringy story to share, did you?
I do have a
share your
particular.
Do your cringe stories. I'm about it.
This is one particularly about like one of the worst dates I ever had.
Yeah.
And this is like back in Guyana. So when I had I had a really good job. I was a executive correspondent agent.
Ooh,
I was
that
a
sounds
mailman.
good.
And so I had access to a car to deliver my mail and shit like that. But like I was the mailman to the CEO. Like, you know, and anything in and out that went through him came through me, right? So bank statements, dick pics, whatever, that's all coming through. Like he didn't have Wi-Fi. And one day I like post up, I get a shorty's number, I set up a date for later in the night, but I can't take the car after work hours, obviously, right? So you catch me riding my bike down side streets to make sure nobody sees me. I make it there, I lock up the bike, go on the date. She orders the steak, so I order the veggie wrap because I'm broke, right? And out of the corner of my eye, I see someone start to steal my bicycle. I didn't want her to know I came on a bicycle, so I just had to sit and watch.
No.
This guy stole my bicycle, so I was just like waiting there. And then there was no second date.
I was going to say, so it wasn't worth it.
It really wasn't worth it. There's a couple other like super cringy stories, but like they involve other people. I don't know if I have permission.
That's fair. That's a good one.
That's fair.
That's a good moment from like a movie.
All my cringy stories always have to do with like saying something mean in front of somebody when you like didn't know they were like listening or whatever. Like if I were to like talk right now about like, oh, like improv is so corny or improv sucks, and then you're like, oh, I have
I'm
an
actually
improv troupe.
professional.
Yeah, exactly. Those are like my cringy moments where I'm just like, oh no, I didn't know.
We was talking about foot and mouth. You got foot in mouth disease.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I definitely do. I totally do. And I think I might have told this story before in the podcast. I don't know. I'll keep it short just in case I did. But I used to work in the costume industry, and we used to go to these yearly events where we would like do like the buying for the Halloween costumes and stuff. So like they would show us all the different costumes at the booth. They'd be like, "Oh, Avengers is coming out this year, and here's the new costumes for Avengers."
Harley Quinn.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I was still there the year the Harley Quinn thing happened. Yeah. And Black Swan was a huge one. Though? Yeah, it was an amazing job. Now we work for ourselves, which is also amazing. But it was like the best retail job I could possibly have. But so I was at this show and our rep was showing us around a booth, and he was like, "Oh, hold on, I'm gonna go get the catalogs or whatever." And I thought that he went like really far away to go get these catalogs, so I just started like badmouthing.
Oh shit!
And I'm not a badmouther, like I don't badmouth people, but I was just like, "Oh, he's probably gonna try and sell us that one costume." I forget what it was, and I was like, he was like, "It's gonna be so popular," and I actually like did a voice. Like I swear I don't talk about people that way, but I did like a voice where I was just like,
You should have heard the impression.
"Air, you better buy this. It's gonna be so good." And I was like doing a voice, and then he was just like, "Jess, you don't have to order that if you guys don't think it'll work for your store." And he was like right behind me as I was like doing this silly voice.
That's perfect.
That was the worst. Do you have a cringy story, babe?
I don't.
I didn't ask you to prep one. That's my bad.
To be fair, I'm not being like hatery. I don't have one handy. I'm happy to share one in the future though. But I don't.
You already told the one about emailing your boss by accident.
Yes,
you already told that one.
Yeah, I did. I've shared a few cringy stories in history. I'm stoned. I'm not unwilling to go to a cringe story. I just don't have anything good right now.
Yeah. No.
One of my other cringy stories, since you don't
share
have
one for me.
Yeah, no, double up.
There was one time this was in high school. This girl and I, like, we were flirting hardcore the whole semester and shit like that. And I was about to leave the school and go to like university and shit. And so like we hung out a last day, and there was all this energy, and then we hug. And then on the way out of the hug, we both like bump near the mouth, like a missed kiss. And then we're like, oh, and then we're like, oh man, maybe it was meant to be. And we go in for the kiss and miss again.
Oh my God.
And just bump one more time. And then we're like, all right, this is painful. We're going to just stop right here. And
That's
we're just
amazing.
like, yeah, just leave it alone.
So I love, there's so many, like if I really dig into the cringe hole, there's so many like stories like that of that age.
We still hung out for like another hour after that.
Yeah.
Just like both knowing.
I once had a guy break up with me over, what's it called when you three-way dial on old landlines?
Oh man.
Like three-way call.
Yeah, three-way call.
Do you remember when three-way call first came out?
Fuck,
it was
yeah,
such a big thing.
It was such a diabolical tool.
Yeah. And a guy broke up with me and I was crying, and then I went quiet because I was
And the
crying.
other girl was like,
And the other guy was just like, hey, bro, you still there? And they just started like talking about it afterwards. And I was just like quietly crying. This is like grade 6.
Oh,
like this is like so young.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How did you not?
You guys want to reenact that right now?
No, that's not.
Yo, bro, you still there?
That's fun for you guys and not fun for me.
You know what? I'll play you. I'll be Jess.
That would be way nicer.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I love it. So I mean, other podcasts always wrap with like, where can people see you do comedy?
Yeah.
Oh, true. Just follow me on Instagram, man, at Clif Knight Comic, Clif with 1 F. I always put out what I'm gonna be doing soon and whatnot. Also, catch me on Facebook, Clif Knight, a comedian, and that usually like I share all the events to straight there. If you ever want like specialty tickets to certain events, just DM me. I'm all about lifting up the community. If you're a fan, we can bring you out. Don't worry about it.
Love that. Coolio. Do I have anything to promote? The Another One remix is coming out on March 8th. I don't know when this episode will be out. We're starting to stack 1 or 2 so we can kind of like delay that.
True.
Always have like 1 or 2 in the bag and then start to drop the next one.
Yo, I thought the rule was to have 10.
Oh, fuck that.
10?
No.
Yeah.
I want it to feel
that's too
feel
old.
relatively live, but I
Yeah.
figured if we
We talk about Valentine's Day and shit.
Yeah, true,
If we
true,
talk
true.
about 1 or 2 episodes, then if something happens, we can buy a week.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah,
one of us
yeah, yeah.
is sick or something. Because Jess lost her voice 1 week, and we were down for a month because it's like then I got sick or like I'm in Europe for a week or something. So we thought 1 or 2 episodes allows us to stay consistent. Now that we've got 1 in the bag. But anyway, so it might even be around when this episode drops. Is the point I'm making? Is my new song out? Another one, the remix by some guys named Vibrator. They're like. They kind of like pop EDM guys from Saskatchewan, dope production duo. They did a really, really fire remix.
That sounds very
the
interesting.
Song. It's really, really cool. So, and then shortly after that, my actual next single called Heart Say comes out, but I'll promote that on the next episode. But if you fuck with me and you want to give a little love, you can always go stream me on one of the music sites. All those numbers matter, man. Just like with the podcast, it's like, I think right now I'm at like 9,400 listeners, and 9,405 would actually matters to me. So
Yeah, yeah.
Appreciate y'all.
Small army.
Small armies, and we don't mean short or like underweight.
Yo, I still take a short army. I still,
Short army.
yo, 100%.
Skinny army, let's go.
Yo, you ever play Odd Job?
Malnourished army, I'm about it.
You ever play Odd Job in GoldenEye? Bro, that guy was a cheat. Fuck yeah, I want those guys.
He was the best.
That's a good point. He can hide easily.
Didn't we play that when you were first dating? Or is that 007?
Yeah, we played a little bit of 007 deathmatch vibes.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Do you have anything to promote, Jess?
No. My Instagram, for
Yeah.
Jess Robert. Check out my gram.
Especially if you're a female.
If you're a female, please.
And
I
also
need
if you're
you.
a man and you're just not there just for like
Not for the
hashtag
booty.
inked girls.
Yeah.
Suicide Girls?
Yeah.
Hey, there was a minute where that was, I mean, you were like,
That was my Steve.
yeah, that was
Yeah. That was big at one point in time.
you've just built on it and
Did
I've
you,
done a lot since
did
then.
you also have a lot of dubstep on your channel?
She was never cliche. It was just that, you were a hot girl on Instagram and you're like, hey, I know how to get more people on my page. And also it's fun to we still do lots of photo shoots. Photo shoots are fun
Yeah,
as
no,
fuck.
True.
I still look good.
No,
I'm
babe,
just not
suggesting-
showing off the booty.
I said you built on it. That's all I said.
Yeah.
I didn't say you lost it. I said you built on it. And I will make sure that's on the record. It was recorded on this podcast. I know people heard me say it.
Hey, yo, you a very eloquent man, my guy.
trust me,
That's
bro. Happy wife, happy life. You know what they say.
very true. You gotta.
Love y'all. Episode 26.
Peace.
Okay, I don't know what it's going to be called yet, but there's a couple really good options.
Yeah, there was a couple good options.
There's a whole lot of material.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.